I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. I don't have to plan it, I can go change my fate. You won't understand it, all alone, that's okay. People, I can't stand them, they don't want me to change. I don't wanna be where I am, and I want something more, take a chance. It could be possibly my last dance, my last dance. I don't wanna let myself down, myself.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. TGIF, it's nice to see you, Mr. Seth, in the chat. We will be discussing just a little bit about who Seth is while we're here for Nancy Guthrie. Thank you, Let Them 66. Good morning to all my beautiful prayer angels this morning. It's nice to have you up in the chat. Coffee Beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. She's an 84-year-old grandmother that was forcibly removed from her home by a masked gunman. And many people are on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence. Either they believe this person has been hired or related to the Guthrie family some way, shape, or form. And some people are saying, we've been screaming about the crime going on in Tucson, and it's been ignored by our sheriff. He hasn't done enough about it, and this is the crime we've been screaming about since the beginning of time. Now we learned about the glove on the side of the road. But folks, we got problems. That wasn't the only glove. Did you say what, Betty? We're learning that was not the only blessed glove. There was a glove found inside of Nancy Guthrie's home. Yes, shocked is my word too. Absolutely shocked. If you're new to this show, I am a button pusher. I love pushing buttons. I love literally pushing buttons, and I love pushing the proverbial button. I love being a boil on the butt of someone, okay? Mostly it's politicians. Sometimes it's criminals, but that's who we like to be. Good morning, folks. This is the case of Nancy Guthrie, and before we get started, and before I say good morning to a few of you guys in chat, I wanted to let you know we just had Seth Rogers here. He's probably still watching right now. If you don't know who Seth Rogers is a father of a missing child. His son's name is Sebastian Rogers. Give me just a moment. Let me put his son's image up on the screen. And there we go. There's his son right over there, all the way to the end next to him. He's been missing since February 26, 2024, from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we're doing an event for Sebastian Rogers. He's been missing for 2 years. These two idiots up here, right here, this one with the cry face and this one with the blood on her face right here. Well, that's the mom and the stepdad. And they were supposed to be taking care of this child. Well, he had a major event that happened to him, a horrible event that happened to him in California when he was 8 years old under his mom's watch. And then 8 years later, he disappears under his mom's watch. If you'll understand anything that has ever happened to this young man, bad has been under his mother's and stepfather's watch. So, as you guys can see, I truly believe that Katie was alone, home with him alone. I believe she did something to him, hurt him, did something, got rid of him somehow, some way, some shape or form. Is he out there somewhere? He may be. He's obviously out there somewhere, but where is he? Is he still with us? Is he not? The things that we're dealing with right now in Nancy Guthrie's case is what Seth has been living for the last 2 years. Okay? He does not know where his son is. He does not know what happened to his son. And the mother of his child and her new husband like to play games and like to mock him for his pain for missing his child. Really disgusting stuff that you would not expect from parents. This is where, we talk about how parents hurt children. This is one of those cases that I'm talking about because it was well known. And then, of course, we got the certified dumbass. This is the sheriff. This is our Chris Nanos in Sumner County. So if you guys are wondering who this is our Chris Nanos in the case right here. This piece of work here. So that's that. We're going to be out in Sumner County from the 23rd through the 27th. The main event is going to be February 26th, as you can imagine. Why? Because that's 2 years. And this Chris Nanos, this Sheriff Snuggle Struggles, you'll understand about why we call him Sheriff Snuggle Struggles very, very soon. But he refuses to even let the to even play nice with the U.S. Marshals. U.S. Marshals said that they would be happy to come in, look at the case, help find Sebastian, and they turned it down. So, oh, and by the way, him and him are friends, okay? This whole family is friends. So we've got a very well-connected mom and stepfather in a community that they all live in. So corruption, yes. Not doing anything, like even at least Chris Nanos, the sheriffs are doing, following up on, data coming back, the phone ping data. These people in Sumner County still got the thumb shoved up their butt and haven't done a damn thing to find this boy, except sit around the office and say, I wonder if he's going to rear his ugly head today. Okay, that's the kind of country bunk bullshit we're dealing with over there in Sumner County. So let me go ahead and fix this back up. I just thought maybe you guys would like to know. Good gracious. Okay, we're back. There we go. All right. So guys, welcome. I'm still figuring out what to do here. All right, guys, as we know, we have just been new information has been revealed to us, as we were just talking about the glove, the black glove that was found outside, where we're learning that there was a black glove found inside her home. So a black glove did actually tear off or was removed during a struggle inside her home. Could it contain evidence? Yeah. We have one of the best labs in the world in Quantico, an FBI lab. And this country bunk bullshit sheriff decides to play politics and send it to a different lab in Florida. And I'm sorry, but I like our labs, especially here in Florida. But if we have an opportunity to have FBI look at it or a private lab, I would prefer FBI, hands down, all day long. Honey, no. We're not going anywhere. Mommy, slide. Go. Out. Thank you. Love bug. So let's just go ahead and get on into this, because this is so bizarre. This is so frustrating, in part because what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here? If you guys are not a subscriber to my Substack, you guys are missing out. Because you guys get Substack articles probably about an hour or two before I drop my video or what we're going to be talking about on the topic of conversation. Typically, my Substack article is a resemblance of what we're going to be discussing that day. Thank you. That day for our conversation here on the show. So it kind of gives you a little insight and a little background information on what we're going to be talking about on today's show, or whatever that day's show will be. So if you guys are not signed up to my Substack, you're certainly missing out on some great articles. I've been working hard. Some of these things are, shorter than others. If I have some extra time, I'll make them more lengthy. If I don't, then it's just a blurb, a few paragraphs of information, and that's it. Today's article was a little more because we had a little more meat to the bone today, right? We're talking about a glove inside a home, not the one on the side of the road. We're talking about an identified gray truck. What? We have a vehicle? We might have a vehicle, folks. If you are just coming in and you're just waking up and you're turning on this and you're listening to my voice right now, tune in. We got some breaking news on this case, some probative stuff to go through and analyze. But if you're not over there on my Substack, you're missing out. So it's free to subscribe. You guys don't have to be a paid member. We will be rolling out paid member options. And we do have a paid member account, but we haven't done any paid member articles. We will be doing some paid member article and some videos on that for our paid subscribers. This will be one that you actually get a benefit here to be a paid subscriber on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Well, you're just really supporting the work we do. You don't really get a whole lot of benefits. Yeah, we do some, maybe once or twice a year, a members only live, but most of the members on this channel are not here supporting this channel for special content that they get behind the scenes. They support this channel being live for everybody, so we don't have to put things behind paywalls. That's the luxury of the people out here. The people that are members of this show care about all the people. Okay, they care about you because They're helping make sure that you get information. Because theoretically, I could live just off the memberships alone and do nothing but membership lives. And all of you folks out there with the whites next to your name wouldn't even be able to see me. So you should be thanking all the people in green for their support of this channel, because they're helping you. And those little thumbs up you give are not just for me. It's for the whole team. This is literally a viewer-sponsored channel. So those thumbs up aren't just me. Paid is better. Paid is better. Thank you. This is one of our supporters too. She's pretty much, her and her family are the supporters of our new equipment, right? Like, we got this stuff coming in. I've got the encoder coming in, and I did want to let you know, I went ahead and went out and bought, I was so frustrated with everything I was finding out about the camera, and I was about to drop $80. I don't know if I'm going to get my, it wasn't 80, it was $160 on a new card. And then I did some research, and it was like, well, my camera has an auto shut off after 30 minutes. And I'm like, this is not going to work. My Canon's not going to work. So I dropped another $400 yesterday on a camera that's going to work. So by the time we're all said and done with this, we're going to have a rock star studio. Okay. We're going to have, I didn't like the picture or the quality of the Canon. I'll have to be honest with you. We were taking a major, like, I'm crystal clear on this Emete. Unfortunately, the Emete is not an HDMI camera. It is a USB camera. And I'm having USB, throttling issues, because you can only use so many ports on your computer before it starts, you can only use one or the other. So long story short is I ended up breaking down and buying a HDMI camera specifically for live streaming to a Black Magic encoder. So I think I finally got all the kinks worked out. This was I will tell you, this upgrade was a fairly expensive upgrade. I think all in all, we're probably right now, I haven't calculated, just going off the top of my head, about $1,500 or $1,700 right now just to upgrades on this channel. So I'm super stoked about it. But I'm not sure when we're going to be live on all of our new equipment. That's the only problem, because now I've got the camera coming in. I think the camera's going to be here before the encoder is here. So we'll at least be able to switch the camera. I'm hoping to have the camera today or tomorrow, but I don't know, because I ordered it from eBay, and every time I order from eBay, it takes a week. It's not like Amazon. So we'll see when it comes in, but as soon as it comes in, it's being set up. So I digress. All right, guys. Well, we have some stuff. If you're coming in for the first time, come on in. We got some breaking news. And as you guys know, this lady here, if you don't know, she's my idol. Okay. I am a Nancy Grace junkie. Okay. I have been mad at Nancy Grace. Me and Nancy Grace had a little spat. It was only a one-sided spat because she doesn't know I exist, but that's okay. That's okay. We did have a spat with Nancy Grace, and it was over the Sebastian Rogers case, because she told Seth one thing, and then when she got him live, she did another, and he disconnected from her show. So she's like, "Ooh, we need to get him back on the phone." And then they like, we told you not to do that. We told you not to do that. And so she made me a little upset, right? So I was mad at Nancy Grace for like 24 hours, but she's still my dog. I love her. I can't help it. I do love her. She's awesome. Hello there, turkey man. I hope you're doing well. Well, you know me. I'm partial to Vinnie Politan. Like, he's like the big brother, right? He's like the big brother I've never had, But anyway, so me and Nancy got into a little one-sided squabble. And, I told you guys it was probably wasn't going to last very long, which it didn't, because she's my dog. So here we are. She's breaking it down, and she's putting it real. And not only that, but she is coming down on the sheriff. She's angry. And I think many of us are angry, right? So we have this 84-year-old woman that's missing. She is a well-known Today Show host, mother. And at the end of the day, she's had, pretty much the world in her living room. Her daughter's well known. She's been on the show. Her daughter's done, segments about Tucson and her mother and her upbringing. So it's telling the whole world that her family lives in Tucson. She's done all these things. Did she invite this in? I'm not even sure she invited this in. I think this is just I think this is crime. I think this is just failure to protect your citizens. Typical, sheriff not doing his job, crime. If they were doing their job and they were following up on all these peeping Toms and people creeping in the middle of the night at all these people's houses, if they would have officers out there searching for these people and doing real police work, maybe this lady would be alive. But I think that this officer has just been, or the sheriff's department has just been acting like everything's just fine, hunky-dory, right? Nobody's been murdered. Nobody's been hurt. They've just been waiting until it sparks up. Well, now it has. And the target was somebody that was very, very loved, whether we agree with their political standing or not. I'm getting so sick and tired of hearing all these statements online about politics when it comes to this lady. She doesn't like Trump, so what? Does that mean we don't search for her? Mean we don't advocate for her? What the hell's wrong with people? That's what I'd like to know. What the hell is wrong with people? We advocate for a lot of people, and we do a lot of things. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get out here until well into March, but we will be out at Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is a beautiful autistic boy that, handsome autistic boy. I get corrected from his father because he's not beautiful. He's handsome. But we have this handsome young man that's gone and has not been seen for over 2 years, or, coming up to 2 years rather. And we need to figure out what happened to him. Unfortunately, his parents are military, so they have resources and training that us lay people just don't have. And we don't know if that training helped facilitate some things that as to why this young man, this handsome young man, is gone. So, there's that. So let's listen to what Nancy Grace has to say. This is a shocker. I was shocked this morning to find out two very important things. We have a black glove, which we knew about, but we didn't know we had a black glove in the house. So now we have a set of black gloves, folks. We have one from the house and one from the side of the road. Okay? But here's the kicker. We're now looking for a gray pickup truck. I don't believe this woman was alive when she left there. If she was thrown in the back of a pickup truck. I'm just saying, something happened. I think that this person robbed somebody. I think he got, I don't know what we're looking at here. It could be multiple different scenarios, right? We could be dealing with a hired hit. We could be dealing with, somebody to do a ransom. We understand those things. But the opposite side of that is this random, and it's starting to feel a little more random than we once believed. And if it is a random, then this guy broke into this house to rob it. Was confronted by her, hurt her really bad. It scared him and he needed to get out of Dodge, but he probably knew his DNA or some type of biological evidence would be on her, and he drug her out of the house. I mean, it could be that. Now, that sounds so far-fetched as well. So I really don't know I've just never heard of an assailant going in for a robbery and taking the person with them. I mean, maybe we need to look at that angle. Maybe I'll do some research on that later after this show. But let's get to what we know right now.
We have both been kind of skirting around the issue. We have talked about it privately. I have told you my FBI sources were very clear to me that local authorities, and I'm not talking about rank and file. I want to be very clear. The leadership did not want them there. There has been a turf war. There has been this feeling of bigfooting. But taking a glove and sending it to a private lab in Florida instead of the FBI headquarters in Quantico, really?
This is where this starts off, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've been watching for 2 years. Oh, thank you. Hugs and love. We love that. Thank you. Because I'm a love machine. Ow! So, what do we make of this? Like, this is, in my opinion, what? Are we playing a pissing contest here? Or are we trying, excuse my language, Turkey Man, or are we trying to, are we trying to solve a case? Because the last time I thought, law enforcement, no matter how they feel about other law enforcement, feds, whatever, at the end of the day, the main goal, the only goal, is finding the answers or finding the victims. Maybe they planned on burglary, but she died, so they took her to dispose, so they didn't get busted for murder. That's kind of where I'm going with this. With that third party. Because let's face it, at the beginning of this, the burglar, the third party unknown person, was very low on the totem pole, statistically in this dynamic. And now we see a masked man that looks like he's acting alone and doesn't have really any affiliation with this house other than working well at dark. Now, I do understand there are a few people that, think he's familiar with this house either by deliveries or maybe some work he's done on the house or something like that. For me, I'm not sure which way to go. I think right now, that little detail, it's an important detail to have, but we don't know which way it is. So I'm not going to, focus on that for the time being. But, now that we see this video, it really does take that 1% and put it back into play. Where I was talking about outliers and stuff like that. This doesn't appear for me to be this outlier situation. This appears to me to have been involved with like family, money, something along those lines. But that sense has changed. Okay? I'm just letting you know that sense has changed. And we knew that this person had to have a vehicle because where were they going? How are they going to move around? Right? And so we believe that there was a vehicle, but a gray, now we're starting to develop a profile of a vehicle. So either thinks that she lived alone, or if they were driving by the house, Oakley, my thing on that would be, when I looked at her home without the cars there, it looks empty. She's a 84-year-old woman that probably stays closer to the back of the house in her room, probably doesn't meander too far because she can only walk 50 yards without needing assistance. And I would have to venture to say that that's, half the house. Like, it probably takes her a really long time to kind of meander through this house. Maybe the reason why they dropped her off at the garage versus the front door, which somebody had suggested before, may have been because her bedroom's in the back and it's harder for her to get back there from the front door. Maybe it's easier for her to get to her room from the garage door, So those are just some things that I'm looking at here. I just don't believe the perp has her and is taking care of her. I don't believe that either. I'm afraid she's gone, but I still have hope and praying she's alive. Teresa, that's perfect because I think that's what that's what many of us believe. This story has a smell to it. Yeah, I agree with it. And that's what's making it so difficult because statistically, it's going to be somebody close to this family, but we're not making the connection. I think everybody knows it's there, and that's why they went from Tommaso over to his bandmate. So I believe that there is an appetite for that, but I think they got the wrong person. I don't know who does this, if we're looking at a connection to the family, but the person is younger, okay? His bandmate's too old, in my opinion. It's an age thing because what I saw out there was a younger person, not an older person, in my opinion. And I think that needs to go into play. But, again, that's just an assumption. It's just a guess because we can't see under the mask. What if it is a 60-year-old prowler? Maybe he's got just for men in, making his beard and his mustache look a little darker than it truly is. We don't know. We don't know. Guys, we have 292 people in chat right now. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. We work on thumbs up as we're, kind of explaining this case. We work for thumbs up. And we also, I'd also like you guys to state where you're from, what your number was when you hit the thumbs up, and state where you're from and where the temperature is, because I notice it's starting to heat up, at least around here. here in Florida, let me get my code put in here so I can tell you, is 62 degrees. If you guys remember, just last week it was 38. So we're up almost 30 degrees than we were last week. So I'm doing better. You know, I'm not running the heat like it's going out of style, right? Betty, if the private lab, it's their technology is as good or better than I don't think there's anybody that, listen, the FBI has the best technology, period. They have the best technology. I don't think there is a lab in this world that can process information better than our headquarter lab in Quantico. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I don't believe that there is a lab in this world that's better than Quantico. That's just me personally, because they have technology and stuff we don't even know of yet. And if we don't know it, then a private lab probably doesn't have it. Just my opinion, just my opinion. But I understand, because different labs, and I did research that. You are absolutely correct in your assessment, because some private labs have different types of technology that's more superior than state labs and other things, or even other FBI labs. But this wasn't just going to any FBI lab. This was going to Quantico. They wanted that glove to go to Quantico. And this, like, we're going to get into this, but it's very serious, because DNA, now when you have blood, semen, other types of DNA, saliva, you may have more DNA cells that are contained in that. But when you have tiny molecules, okay, and like touch just very, very, very tiny, faint DNA that needs to be magnified and duplicated and enhanced, you could only use that DNA. You only have like a shot, maybe 2 shots at that tiny molecule of DNA before it's destroyed and cannot be used. And so that is the biggest concern right here, is when you send it off to a private lab. If, for instance, something doesn't, this might be a nothing burger, right? They may send it off to this lab. This lab may do an impeccable job and get the same results as it would have been with Quantico. But when you're dealing with something like this, where, it really truly matters, in my opinion, you're risking an awful lot over a pissing contest. Because once that molecule of DNA is destroyed, it's destroyed forever. They're not going to be able to take it to Quantico if they screw up the testing in that private lab, or they're not getting the results they need, and that has to go to Quantico, which is going to have to go to Quantico anyways, because the FBI is going to have to test it. So they could have done everything all in one shot. And you know what? Not only that, but why is he sending it over to a private lab? It's costing the state money versus the feds being able to process it much more inexpensively. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. This is a pissing contest that needs to be nipped in the bud. You do not do this when a woman's, and you know what? And I would say a woman's life hangs in the balance, but I think everybody has come to the conclusion she's not alive anymore, and now the sheriff thinks he can just do whatever the hell he wants to do. It's his case, right? It's his case. Do they have probable cause for the FBI to take over? When the ransom note was going on, when there was an exchange that way, yeah, they would have been in jurisdiction, because you're dealing with communications mostly overseas or over state lines. That brings the feds in. That's their jurisdiction. But this woman disappearing from her home, if there's no connection to out of state, or there's no connection to over borders, if this is just a standard old crime from a criminal in their own community doing this, then it's still the jurisdiction of this sheriff, this shitty sheriff that doesn't know how to lock down a crime scene. That's scary for me. That is scary for me. And the only thing that's going to unscare this is unfortunately, Savannah Guthrie is going to have to put her foot down with this sheriff and let him know to turn this over to the feds. That's the only way we're going to get through this, because this sheriff's he's already screwed up the case enough, and he's upset because the whole world's talking about how bad he screwed up this case. And now that everybody's talking about the feds, and I think this is a hit to his ego, and he's allowing the hit to his ego to do these horrible things to this poor woman that's most likely lost her mother. They don't have time to monkey F with a state lab in Florida, or any type of a lab in Florida. They need to get this turned around. They need to have this expedited, and they don't. It's very disturbing to me. They don't even they didn't even rob her wallet. Bigger fish to fry than her wallet. Yeah, I have to agree. There's a lot of unknowns here with it that don't make sense, that really do make us focus on the family because of the details. But I have a funny feeling the details are stranger than fiction. And seeing how we don't have a whole bunch of deceased elderly victims from home invasion robberies, I have to think that this was probably, in my opinion, the first time this person has hurt somebody, and he probably freaked out and didn't know what to do, and his criminal instincts told him to take the evidence with him. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, and that also makes me believe that there may be some things missing from that house, like a bed covering, a rug, or something that he could have thrown. I don't see him even at night, just dragging her over his shoulder and taking her to a pickup truck. But somebody has explained all that blood as potentially being thrown over the shoulder of someone as they're being taken out of the house. And I have to think that if there's cameras in that house, they have to see a lot more than we know about. It's got to be pretty scary. And I really hope that they don't have this pissing contest. But let's get back to this.
There are cases where DNA is sent to a particular lab, a specialty lab, a lab that could have an expertise in
they're addressing that.
Destroyed, old, degenerated DNA. But even if that's why he's hanging his hat on an excuse to send it to a private lab in Florida, they don't have anything that the FBI doesn't have.
Bingo.
So that's not going to wash. And I want to tell you something, Sean. I've tried many, many DNA cases. I've tried many cases without DNA. You can use up DNA if you have a small amount, which comes from touch DNA. It's not like blood or sperm where you may have a lot of DNA and a very small amount of fluid, but you have a lot of DNA. Touch DNA, no. If there is it hurts me to think of this. If there is a small amount of DNA inside one of those gloves and it is sent to a lab for testing, that DNA could be used up in the testing.
So that's the biggest problem right there, folks. That's what we, it's difficult here because we're at, in my opinion, let me switch sides here. In my opinion, we're at this crazy crossroads here, right? I feel like she's gone. And people are going to want to slow down so they're not making any mistakes. When they thought she was alive, you have to you're running against a clock. You don't really care about mistakes. You just want to get to the finish line. You want to find her. You want to find her as quickly as possible. So I understand that perspective and that mechanism. Okay, I've seen it happen as well. So I don't have disdain for that. I have disdain for not keeping the crime tape up. I have disdain that a news organization, and I would have done the same thing. So I'm not blaming the news organization. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. But had the yellow tape been up, people would have known not to cross that line. They took the tape down, they opened the scene back up, and they handed the scene back over to the family. The family did not take possession of the scene. They never went over there. They never locked the doors. They never touched anything. They did not consider this a closed case yet. They stayed away from this house. They obviously we're very upset that this house wasn't a crime scene, because we know that Savannah Guthrie called in a mess of favors, even to that Kelly guy, whatever his name, Mark Kelly or whatever, Senator Mark Kelly, real bonehead guy. But she called him, and of course he started calling the president and trying to get some federal help and enforcement out there, which they were successful at doing. And let's face it, that was at the request of Senator Mark Kelly, or whatever his name, I think it's Mark Kelly. But apparently he's pretty good friends with Savannah Guthrie. So when she realized what she was dealing with, she called him. Why would she call him? You know why she called him? Because she had to have not had a whole lot of confidence, in my opinion, in her own sheriff or the sheriff of this county. I think she started seeing things because, again, she's an attorney. You guys can't take the attorney out of an attorney, even if they don't have a license anymore. They still have the education. You still are always constantly thinking of law. So you're talking about a woman that used to work with, on court TV. She's very well versed in proper police procedures. Those types of things don't leave you when you go and start talking about, everyday stuff on the Today Show. Those things are still there. It's still education and experiences you've had. So I have to believe, just like we are laymen people. I've never been an officer of the law. I've never arrested anybody. I've never had to tell anybody that their loved one was deceased. I've never had to do those types of things. I'm just a normal Joe that understands police procedure because we've watched a lot of trials. We've studied a lot of cases over the course of the last several years, learning about different cases and different topics of those cases. This is not a gated community. It is not a gated community. They have no lights. Their county has convinced them of this light pollution and how environmentally unsafe it is. So they put all of their elderly people in harm's way by failing to properly light their streets. I personally think Savannah Guthrie needs to sue the county. I really do. I think that she needs to sue this county for putting her mother clearly in harm's way. And for failing to properly light. I mean, think about it. Anytime anybody's hurt on a Walmart parking lot or any other parking lot, what do? They sue, and what do they get? They get lights and videotapes, right? They get camcorders and stuff put all up around. Why? Because it's a safety issue. And you are to provide the safety. It's your public safety, and you failed at public safety. I think they should be held civilly liable for that. She should absolutely be suing this county. Without a doubt. In my opinion. In my opinion.
It's very hard to regenerate DNA for testing purposes.
It is.
So what I'm saying is, if that lab in Florida uses up that touch DNA, it's over. Does he not realize what he is risking? He needs to go back to his basketball game and let...
Guys, and one of the reasons why I think this guy is young is I want you to go back and find the part of the video and look at the eyes. Okay? I mean, I'm sorry. If you were to take this... Make sure I don't have any... Gotta make sure I don't have any comments. Okay? You can tell that I am older. Why? Why can you tell I'm older? Because you see wrinkles. You see bags. Okay? If this is all you got to see of me, you would know I'm an older person just by my eyes. Okay? So I'm trying to make you guys understand here that those eyes tell us a lot. Okay? But one thing I'm not seeing around those eyes are wrinkles, okay? We have wrinkles. I'm not wearing any makeup, okay? You guys can see my eyes again. Let's do this again. Make sure I got it. Okay? You guys see my eyes? You guys can see that they look older. My eyes look older. Why? Because they are older. You cannot, even the best people that wear a lot of gunk on their face and do Botox and stuff like that. I mean, even Cindy Crawford, you can tell she has aged. She's aged beautifully. Jihadi Bride. Oh, good gracious. But even being the jihadi bride, you guys could tell I was an older jihadi bride, could you not? I mean, come on. At least acknowledge that my eyes look older, okay? I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm not one of these people that aren't comfortable in... I want to get... I don't want to get old. I mean, I want to slow down the aging process here, but... 24 degrees, but we're having a tropical heat wave at 24 degrees. Oh my gosh, you're too funny. You are too funny. We are all aging. Yeah, but it's one of those things where I'm comfortable though. I know I'm not going to be a 24-year-old girl my whole entire life. I grew my hair out so I could figure out what I want to do with it. I have decided I don't want to be a gray lady. Okay, I was hoping that it was white so I could quit having to dye my hair because I love blonde. I love platinum, and if I could. And I was hopeful. I was just like, yeah, maybe I'm completely white by now, but I'm not, okay? And my hair is like I look like a calico, okay? I'm a natural calico. So we're going to do something about it, but, I'm going to age, gracefully. I'm not going to do the whole Botox. I'm not going to go and get my face stretched, okay? I have already made those decisions for myself. Even if I get a little chicken, we're just going to have to deal with the gobble gobble, okay? I have made the decision. I'm going to beautifully age. I'm going to age the way I'm supposed to age. I'm not going to get into all the trendy crap of peeling and pulling and tugging and injecting and this, that, yeah. What's that going to do for you? What's that going to do for you in the long run? I guess we got off on we're getting way too far down a rabbit hole here on something that doesn't even make sense with our topic of conversation. But either way, getting back to this, the eyes. I think the eyes tell us a lot. I think they tell us that he is much younger, right? And I think that my old eyes sealed the deal. Because I'm puffy this morning. Our old eyes, we get a little puffy. We get a little puffy around, get a little bit of those little dark bags, right here and right here. Just a little something that we'd like to lighten up. Just a little bit, And we would like these to go just a little bit, right. Come on, guys. We just want it to go just a little more tight right here, right? Okay, so now we know that this guy probably is, he's between 25 and 40. I do believe that he's between 25 and 40. All satire aside, he's young. And I think that this is important because if we're going to look at somebody that is close to the family, I think we need to have the right age group. I think that if we, I don't know what happened here. This does feel very odd, okay? We're not going to lie that this feels pretty stinking odd, folks, okay? We don't know. We feel like in our gut that somebody has to be involved that knows this family. Like it's right there. It's a ball. Okay, we knew it conclusively. Betty is now officially the number one suspect. Oh, shit. I just want to say I've got an airtight alibi. I'm a cheap biatch, and I'm in Florida. So I haven't even taken a plane ticket, a car trip, a train, a bus, nothing. And people are believing he's Hispanic. I have to agree because we had a few people in here the other day. We were going through it. I didn't know how to explain it, but I wanted to make sure that people knew I didn't think, I think the eye colors are brown, but what we're looking at here is black and white image because it's night vision. This happened in pitch black. This person couldn't even really hardly see. He was a professional. His way that he was able to move around with that little flash of the light, that showed me he's done this before. He's got his hands free. It's in his mouth. He's just using his teeth or his tongue to light it up. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. That shows me he's a professional of lurking at night. That's creepy. Okay. Now, maybe he was hired by the family. Maybe he was hired by somebody in the family. I don't know. But if he was, we're still looking for the same age group, probably, possibly trained. Maybe. I can tell you, I've never seen this before. I've never seen this tactic before. I've never seen anybody put a light in their mouth and do it. I mean, my dad was an electrician, and when you're in an attic, you have to be creative because my dad was an electrician from the 80s. Okay, back in the 80s, we didn't have. If you wanted a headlight, you had to design your own headlight. Okay, they didn't make them back then. What you did is you took one of those block batteries. And you took a light and you hooked it up to it, and you took a trust me, we made them. And you took a strap and you put it around your head. Nowadays, you got little clips that go on the bill of your cap. They make and design these things for people not to have to use their hand and to have lights. And so this is something different that I've never seen before. I mean, he's got a little light in his mouth that he's turning on and off periodically to see where he's going. Because it's like a flash. If you guys have ever been in a pitch black and you see a flash, what do? It illuminates the area. And so you know where you're walking. So you only have to do it every few seconds. Light, see it. It illuminates in your eyes. You know where you're going. Light, it illuminates in your eyes. You know where you're going. Light, it illuminates in your eyes. You know where you're going. So, you have a situation where you're seeing this guy making these weird moves. I've never seen anybody move like this before. I've never seen the light in somebody's mouth before. I'm not sure if this is training. I think this is just somebody that's learned a trick in his trade, a clever trick in his trade of creeping in the middle of the night in such dark. So you got to remember, these people can creep because there's no lights. And when we saw the image from JLR, it literally is pitch black. It is not pitch black like Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot tried to acknowledge. They have lights in their area. They have remnants of lights off their houses. This is literally, you turn the lights off, you can't see. Pitch black. That's what it's like out there in this Arizona area. Not the fake pitch black that we're trying to be convinced over in Katie and Chris's neighborhood. Because I was there and I turned my lights off and it's like, yeah, it's dark, but I could get around without a light. I could walk without a light and still see the road in front of me. Maybe not too far in front of me. Might be only like a foot or two in front of me, but I could still see. Gotcha. All right, guys, stay tuned. It looks like we might be having some breaking news, potentially. Usually when I get those notes, shocking find inside Nancy's home, clues and mysteries. Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a second. Thank you, Pebbles. Appreciate it. Give me just a sec. I got Ashley Banfield pulled up too. She's up next.
The feds handle this in Quantico, but it's done. It is done. And I can't tell you the difference DNA makes in a case.
She's mad.
The number one thing right now. Second is...
Hey, Danny.
Trucks. The feds are looking for trucks. A gray truck in particular. They're asking everyone within a 2-mile radius.
I don't think they've ruled out anybody.
Video. And have they seen a truck? Have they seen a gray truck? And do they own a truck? And do they know somebody that does own a truck?
There it is. You guys heard that. Let's listen. Let's go back a little bit. Guys, pay attention.
Is the vehicle. Trucks. The feds are looking for trucks. A gray truck in particular.
Okay, guys, you guys heard that. We have a gray truck. We officially have a vehicle. Okay. Did you see the sketch of the suspect? Not yet. Which one is it? Is it Nancy or is it Ashley or is it the one above? Did I miss one? So it's one of these two. Who? Which one is it? I don't know. We got two videos here. Which one is it? Something chops off in the rain will go in the rain. Oh, that's which one is it? What lab did it? I don't know. Hold on. Give me just a second, Lisa. I'm trying to figure out what they're talking about. Apparently they're... Oh, here it is. Okay. Thank you. Apparently I didn't go down far enough. It didn't come to me. Okay. Here you guys go. Hold on here. Houston Chronicles. I don't know if this is legitimate or not, but it looks like it is. Give me just a second. There we go. Okay, so Houston Chronicles is giving this as the sketch. There's the sketch. Oh, you guys can't see it. Hold on. Let me move it up just a little bit more. There's the sketch right there of who they believe this person, what this person may look like right there. So now you guys have it. He doesn't look as young as I thought he would. So if they think that this guy is the guy, he probably looks more in the 30s or 40s than the 20s. That doesn't look like a... Interesting. Creepy. Yeah. Good morning, guys. If you're coming in, we do have a sketch of the suspect. A sketch of the suspect. Give me just a second. Let me, I'm going to have to capture this somehow. Give me just a second. Can I capture this? Hopefully it doesn't break my... I just want an area screenshot. There we go. Okay. Now, let's... Hold on just a second. I got the wrong one up. Sorry, I need to take a screenshot. You know what? I think, what did I do? Shift 4. Is that the one I needed to do? Okay, that's what I need to do. Sorry, guys, I got to remember. Control Shift 4. There we go. Let me just put this. I love that. It's kind of like doo-doo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so we want to copy. We want to send. We want to send to airdrop. Send it to my phone. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, but I'm sending it to my phone. Did it... Let's see where it went. It usually goes, I think they say it goes to the desktop. Let me see if this went to the desktop. I don't think it went to the desktop. I think I did that to myself yesterday. Give me a second. Yep, I don't think it goes to the desktop. I don't know. I don't know where the hell it goes. I really don't, but let's try it again. All right. There we go. Copy. I don't know if we... See, it's just not saving. I don't know where it's saving to. Oh, well. I sent it to my phone. We got it. So if you guys are just coming in, we're hearing that this is the potential person, what they believe. Let's read the article that this is from. The article basically says, let's go up here. It says, this is the sketch being released. Famed Houston crime sketch artist Louis Gibson has released a sketch based on the masked person seen at the doorbell footage in the missing person case of Nancy Guthrie. Guthrie, 84, the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, was reported missing February 1st from her Tucson, Arizona home. Officials with Arizona law enforcement and the Federal Bureau of Investigation believe she was taken from her home and that she is still alive. Earlier this week, the FBI released images of a person in a ski mask believed to be at Guthrie's front door. On Thursday, the agency shared additional details about the person's description. NBC News reported the person was described as 5'9" to 5'10". Now, that's short. What they're talking about is a short and stocky person, which is what I saw. Everybody kept saying tall and slender. I'm like, this person's not tall and slender. So 5'9", 5'10", with an average build. He was wearing a black 24-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack, according to NBC. The image shows an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy's front door the morning of her disappearance. FBI Director Kash Patel said in an ABC News story, only the person's eyes and what appear to be a mustache or goatee can be seen. Gibson, who is retired from the Houston Police Department in 2021, holds a Guinness World Record of the most successful forensic artist. This is good, folks. With her work helping to identify more than 750 criminals. What? Gibson, who is not involved in the Nancy Guthrie investigation, on Wednesday night posted the picture of the sketch on the Facebook page. So we're going to save the image of this one. Suspect sketch. Okay, we got it. Very interesting. Very interesting. 30, I would say 30s, persons in their 30s based upon this. So I guess that part of the face covered with the mask in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping suspect. She said in her Facebook, I used the surveillance photos shown and I spent 43 years at job trying to help detectives with similar photos. So very, very nice resume there of the person doing this. She said, I'm brave enough to take the hit if I'm wrong. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm brave enough to take the hit if I'm wrong. I love it. I love it. It's all about trying. It's all about trying, right? To see the surveillance photo, my husband is going, oh my gosh, can you do this deal? And my brain is going, I couldn't resist. She said, I lost control and wanted to try by my hand. Why wouldn't I try? Exactly. If you've got a skill or a gift, why wouldn't you try? Why wouldn't you try to bring some closure to this? And if this could be possibly right, guys, this could possibly be the person. Let me just reduce my image here. Hold on a second. There we go. There we go. Hopefully that comes down a little bit more. There we go. So there is the image of potentially said person. And as you can see, it does have a Hispanic tone to the individual. So I think we're safe to say this looks like a Hispanic individual that broke into the house. Now that we have at least a visual. Now, please keep in mind, this may not be accurate. Okay. This is a sketch, a very difficult sketch, but from a well-known person that's helped solve 750 cases using these same techniques. This is definitely something that's good. Can you cover his face like you did? You know what? Yeah, we can. It's going to take another step, but yeah, we can. Let's go ahead and pull this in and see what we got here. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. So let's go ahead and bring him up. Duplicate. Can we duplicate? Yeah. Okay. I think we need a ski mask. I think we would probably need a ski mask more than anything. So there's kind of what we have. And let me compare that. Let me find the assailant. Let me put the assailant on here. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and group those together so we can. Okay. So that's kind of what we have. And then let me put the suspect on here. Oh, they did have the one with the photo, but let's go ahead and just add this since we're already here. We're already doing it. Where is the suspect? Suspect. There we go. don't know. That's pretty freaking close for the eyes. That's pretty freaking close for the eyes. In my opinion. That's... What do you guys think? I mean, I think that's... The eyes are a little bit bigger, but I think that... Let me just see. Hold on. I think we might have a winner chicken dinner, or at least for the eyes. I think we got the eyes just about right. What are your thoughts about that? Please remove the chat banner. Okay. There we go. Look at the eyebrow. I wonder if we should flip this photo around. It doesn't look like it to me. Really? I think it does. I think the eyes are almost perfect. I personally think the eyes are almost perfect. Let's see what we got here. Let me, hold on a second. Let's get this in a frickin', why isn't it doing it right? Hold on. Do I have to crop this? Maybe I do have to, hold on a second. This is driving me nuts. Give me a second. Oh, good gracious. All right, give me just a second. It's obviously not grouping together. I don't know what the hell's going. Okay, so it just didn't group that one. I'm trying to get it so I got the face the same size. Oh, geez. I didn't mean to do that. Ungroup. I didn't mean to get this one in there. Okay. I'm still not on the same sized head yet. Got to make it the same size. Got to make sure everything lines up. Right now we don't have anything lining up. Let's take this away. Ungroup. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It looks like it could fit. I'm sorry. It looks like it could fit. What do you guys think? Make this sketch smaller. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to just do this one. Hold on, let me I don't know. It does look like him, but the eyebrows, well, it's a sketch. So we got to remember that the eyebrows that it's in the sketch are going to be, I mean, it's a sketch. It's somebody's drawing. So we're trying to find out if it could fit under the mask. And quite frankly, I think it could. Except the problem here is we don't have the right angle of this face. But I could see where it does fit. Wrong one. Kind of see it. But the problem is we don't have the right angle of this particular face. I mean, it looks like it's straight, but it's not. It's kind of tilted a little bit. So I don't have 3D imaging or 3D, to modify it or adjust it. But I mean, personally, I think it's possible that it could, it could match up. Focus on the jawline. Well, she's drawing it based on the image she sees. So the jawline's going to line up. But I do believe that it could potentially be this guy. She's, that's what she's seeing. She's looked at several different angles of it, but I can almost see his face coming through the mask and with this, with the overlay on it. I believe this might be at least somebody similar to this. It doesn't have to be specific, but now we get an idea of what kind of person we're looking at, But if this is correct, I'm not sure that this person, that she's describing somebody that's in their at least 30s. Or if she could have made the sketch a little bit younger. But I would definitely say not female. Yeah. I didn't think it was a female because you don't see any breast on the front of the body. Now, I know in today's society, I guess that doesn't really make a whole hill of a beans in today's society, but either way.
Asking everyone within a 2-mile radius to pull video and have they seen a truck? Have they seen a gray truck? And do they own a truck? And do they know somebody that does own a truck? Why did they focus on a truck? Because apparently a truck has been picked up on video surveillance around questionable times. Now, if you look at times at which they are searching, they're looking at a date back in January, 3 weeks before the incident, and they're looking at the time a day before the incident. One is daytime, one is night. They're looking at surveillance video, and I think they've seen a gray truck surveilling the home in daytime conditions and nighttime conditions. Why do we need the vehicle? Nancy Guthrie was bleeding, and I don't care how much they clean that vehicle. They're not going to get rid of all the blood.
I think, he had a gun on him. I think he shot her. You're never going to hear it out there. None of the neighbors are going to pick it up for her. Even if she's out there screaming in the middle of the driveway, nobody's going to hear her for the coyotes. The coyotes are howling just as loud. We heard them the first time we were out there, when we were out there at night, and we heard the coyotes coming out. You're never going to... kind of a person as a butthole, yeah. What make is the truck? They haven't even... that gray truck is all we have. We don't know if it's a full-size truck, a mid-size truck, a tiny truck. We don't know what kind of truck it is, just a gray truck. So I think it's somebody from around there.
A vehicle makes all the difference. Do I have to say Brian Koberger? We know the DNA helped the case, cracked the case, but it all started with an ID of an Elantra.
Yep.
And white Elantra. And that went over to WSU, Washington State University in Pullman, their local deputy dog at the campus police.
Yep.
He ran a white Elantra, and Koberger's name came up.
Yep.
At the get-go. Then you've got Molly.
November 30th into December 1st. They sure did. I remember this case like the back of my hand because I was out there for 2 solid weeks. A week on our first rotation, and then before he was arrested, and then after he was arrested.
Tibbetts, a young woman, jogging, college student, you know how they apprehended that perp? Because of a black Chevy Malibu caught on video. That's how important this gray truck is.
And guys, start dropping those videos. If you're in this area, start dropping those videos. And we can start scouring through them, because you got to remember the Devil's Den murderer, right? He stabbed to death these 2 little girls, mom and dad, right in front of the little girls, and now he's in jail. But the Devil Den's murder, it was his black car, his black Kia, I think it was, that was seen speeding away from the area. And he went to a hairdresser to get his hair cut, acting all weird. And cops come in asking about the car. Tonight,
that in the DNA are what we need to focus on. We've got a physical description. It's loose. A guy, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", dark hair, did have a mustache, did have facial hair, probably not anymore. But it's the DNA that will carry the day. And another thing, why I think
Latino or Italian, good point. Good point.
I believe what you and I talked about on night 1, Sean, CAST, Cellular Analysis Survey Team, I think they picked up Palazuelo's cell phone in and out of that neighborhood, identified him, and then swooped in and got him. So they are working the phone angle. I know that for a fact.
Well, I know without the FBI there, they never would have gotten that videotape. And the Pima County Sheriff even said early on in a press conference that they would not have no access to any videotapes. He did say that. I hate this turf war thing. The glove seems to be the main thing. Do you remember early on, there was one neighbor that reported that in the days leading up to this abduction, that there was a white truck, white, gray.
So I think this photo right here, I don't know. Let's see. I wish they would have done one at like on the side, you know? Like I wish they would have done one on the side, because it's that one right there, you know, that right there kind of more looks like him, in my opinion, from the side angle than the front angle. In all fairness, just thought I'd throw that out there.
I don't know, different, but maybe close enough, that had been on the street, which seemed out of place. Maybe we go back to that point and maybe we find that white truck.
I know, I saw that, Kim. Yep, I saw that.
Well, interesting, something that you brought up about that white vehicle. And that was, it was parked in the neighborhood. Nobody could identify it as being theirs. Didn't know whose it was. And if it was a repair person, it had no logo on the side, on the back, nothing. So what was it and why was it there? And again, there is no coincidence in criminal law. And if that white or gray vehicle was parked on the street and people had noticed it days in advance before Nancy Guthrie was kidnapped, and now they're looking for a gray vehicle, I think that's very probative, Sean.
Gray vehicle, guys, a gray truck. We now know 2 black gloves have been found. One inside Nancy Guthrie's home and one on the side of the road. It appeared that when this assailant grabbed, and I think this is why we're starting to start feeling why he took her with him. Guys, a glove was ripped off and inside her home. So if one of the gloves were inside her home, I think he may have been very, very concerned about biological evidence being left behind. So went yelled outside at night, and a neighbor heard him. A neighbor did hear him with the coyotes and everything like that. That's interesting. I think we have, do we have Jonathan up on here? I thought we had Jonathan. Hold on here. Let's see what's going on outside there while we talk. Might as well see. I don't think anything. I think the case, in all fairness, is dying down. We do have another subject, which we're going to get to in just a second. But I think we're winding down here. I think we've got Jonathan still out there. He's probably still moving around. I just saw Ickmel. I think everybody's...
He's going to be seen.
Yeah.
He's going to be seen.
So we've got, as you can see up here, we got traffic cameras all around here. And this appears to be the intersection on the outside. I've recognized this on the outside of one of the roads of Nancy Guthrie's home. As you can see, it is raining outside. So this rain is going to, I hope they did get everything. This is the first rain I've seen in this area since this case, took off on February 1st. So we're at February. It's been 13 days, almost 2 solid weeks. We're rounding into our second week, or ending our second week and rounding into our third week right now on this case. This is where it gets scary because I don't think that a person was developed in that first 48. And anybody that was developed in that first 48, I kind of believe has probably already been cleared or moved down to the bottom of the list, which is the most concerning for a situation like this. And here's why it's so concerning. It's so concerning because when you don't have a profile developed in that first 48, it really does slow the case down. Why leave evidence behind? When things are moving, you don't intend to leave evidence behind, but when you're in a struggle, things happen. That's what happened with Brian Kohberger. I don't ever think he anticipated leaving the knife sheath behind, but he did. He left the knife sheath behind that had touch DNA on it, that had his DNA, and his DNA was developed, and he was uncovered and found out who he was by investigative genetic genealogy testing done by a different private lab that does builds family trees and locates you in a very scientific way through your bloodline. So it's definitely interesting. Does anyone know former Christopher Radke? I know that we had a homicide detective, and I think Lori was answering it, that Brian Enton interviewed, and we'll get to that. I had that pulled up yesterday, but for some reason we've missed. We weren't able to go there because we had some breaking news. So let me finish this up.
So the glove, hopefully we get the DNA. Hopefully they might get a match, and hopefully the FBI and local law enforcement can put aside their differences and their egos and work together for the good of finding Nancy.
We all hope that. But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, we have a situation where law enforcement isn't the nicest, and it's becoming a problem. So let's turn over to News Nation now.
Nancy Guthrie, after 12 days, authorities still don't know who took the mother of Today Show star Savannah Guthrie.
And that's the scariest part. Hyundai has a truck, but if they have a truck, I don't know how many people own a Hyundai truck. I've never seen a Hyundai truck before. Toyota recently, well, not recently, over the last few years, last decade, 15 years or something, came out with their first, I think with a Tundra and Tacoma. They never had a line of pickup trucks, and then they came out with the Tundra and Tacoma. And then, of course, it's always been Chevy, Ford, GMC, Dodge that came out with kind of the trucks and what have you. The gun in the front meant I have no male parts. I saw the video. That does not now. I've seen many people carry a gun in the front. I've also heard of people shooting their penis. So just to let you know, that's not necessarily true.
From her home on the morning of February 1st.
My dad had a little truck. Yeah, you're right. My dad had a little work truck from Toyota. It was a little Toyota truck that he had. He had this little one from, it was like the 80s or 90s. It was tiny. It was a little tiny thing. I think they found 2 gloves on the side they found 1 glove on the side of the road and 1 glove inside her home. The gun and holster are carried pistol style, Mexican bandit style. Yeah, something like that. But I think that even the stuff that he had was stolen. I think the holster was stolen from one job and the gun was stolen from another job. I think we're talking about a person that robs people.
description of the man that investigators are calling a suspect in her disappearance. The FBI says the suspect is male, about 5'9", 10 inches tall, with an average build. They confirm that the suspect is the same man seen in that frightening video released earlier this week by the FBI, that he was wearing a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack, very specific. The feds also said they're increasing the reward for information that leads to Nancy to a whopping $100,000. Things can change when you put the money amount like that down. And they've put out a new request for footage from Nancy's neighbors. Investigators are now asking everyone within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home to go through their surveillance footage and send in any images of people, vehicles, anything out of the ordinary, all to investigators. But Nancy's neighbors, they may need to do some serious searching to find clues. Why? Authorities don't just want any footage from that night. They want anything between the dates of January 1st to February 2nd of this year. So what? That's over like 700 hours of footage. It's not entirely clear why they want to go back that far. But here's the thing. The FBI says it has received over 13,000 tips since Nancy first went missing. And now we're learning that it's kind of doubtful that the feds are going to maybe be able to properly investigate many of them. Why? You have an FBI source that has confirmed to News Nation that Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, who we've talked about a lot on this program, has allegedly been blocking the Bureau's access to key pieces of evidence like that black glove that was found yesterday, as well as DNA evidence from Nancy's house. Apparently, Nanos sent that evidence to a private crime lab in Florida, not the FBI's lab in Quantico, so effectively cutting the feds off from...
Question would be, why are they cutting the feds off from critical information in this case? You know what I'm saying? Why would they do that? We've got a black glove here. It looks like a nitrile black glove. I truly believe that they've been following phone pings. I think they found this as following a trail when they saw this. I'm not pleased with the handling of this investigation by Chris Nanos. Okay, I've had a problem with Chris Nanos from the very beginning of this case. I just thought he was a nice guy. I didn't want to beat him up too much. We have a tendency of beating up law enforcement when they screw up, but he was a nice guy, and I'm starting to see that no, he acts like a nice guy in front of the cameras, but he's a crook behind the scenes. It sounds like he was almost arrested and charged with, stealing of money. So I'm really kind of on the fence with this whole sheriff to begin with. What the hell is going on out there in Tucson, Arizona? We were told this was a safe place, not a lot of crime, and now we're looking at all these video footage of people creeping, different people. These are not the same people. This is a whole bunch of people creeping in their area at night, putting a lot of people in danger, and they're being told they can't turn the lights on because of stupid light pollution ordinances. This is insane. How many people have we watched just in a 5-mile radius creeping around all these elderly people, and nothing is being done about it? That's too creepy for me, guys. I'm sorry. This is unnecessary. There's something going on in this community, and people are in danger, and the sheriff is playing games. I don't like it. I really don't.
Critical evidence if this is true. Now, we've reached out to the Pima County Sheriff's Office about the report. We don't have a response yet. I want to bring in News Nation's senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, who's been on top of this case. He's live there. Brian, I will get to that in a second, but I haven't spoken to you yet today. What is the very latest on the ground, the very latest in the search?
Yeah, so the latest, and I've been trying to work my sources, Jesse, is I have just confirmed that as recently as last night, the Pima County Sheriff's Office was not sharing critical information with the FBI, and it's becoming increasingly frustrating to FBI agents here on the ground in Pima County. That comes on top of our reporting that initially...
So what we need to do is we need a phone campaign. We need a phone campaign to Pima County Sheriff. And we need to tell him to work with the feds. Stop cutting the feds off. I don't think that this sheriff really wants to start screwing around with a national interest case and one that social media is absolutely involved in. We can make their day really, really, really bad. We do not like officers messing around with elderly people in people's lives over pissing contests. It's one thing we will not put up with. So I'm going to make sure that everybody knows, even the FBI, social media will not put up with this. We will take action. We will make everybody, and trust me, we are boils on the ass of everybody. And so if this continues, it is too late. It probably is. You're right, digging dirt. But it still doesn't matter. I still think we need to start calling this and start advocating and start getting in the ears of politicians in this area. We need to find out who are the politicians over the sheriff. Okay, he's a politician. No matter how you look at this, this is not he's a law enforcement officer, but at the end of the day, he's a politician first. Okay? So now we're going to have to, now he wants to play a political game. Well, I can tell you we can play political games. I don't like doing it. Not when an elderly woman's life hangs in the balance, but we will play a game if he wants to play games. I do not believe that these games should be played in anybody's case. So if this is the way that we're going to be doing it with Chris Nanos, then we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do email campaigns, mailing campaigns, or phone campaigns, one or the other. We will apply pressure if they're going to be playing games with this family. So now you guys got to figure out what you guys would like to do. Would you guys like to write emails? Would you guys like to write letters? One stamp, one envelope, one sheet of paper will do. We did that for Summer Wells. We've got a lot of tactics we can use to get sheriffs in line with if we want to apply the pressure. But one thing we cannot do is sit idly by and allow a sheriff to allow his ego to get in the way of solving a case. That's one thing we can't do. We will go up for this battle. This channel has done this before. We've had to go against the government before. We've had to do it out in Chatham County, and because that chief, it wasn't a sheriff, it was a chief of police. Usually you get better sheriffs than you do chiefs of police, in my opinion. But it was a chief of police, and he was just garbage. Yeah, this needs to be busted wide open. National attention on the blackout for sure. Absolutely. So we need to figure out where we're going to move next. I'm going to try to reach out to this office. I've already asked for updates and requests, and I haven't gotten in response back from their office. So I'm going to try to call their office and let them know that I sent an email to make sure, one, that I got the right email that I sent it to. I'm hoping it's the right email. But if I did not send it to the right email to send it to. And if they do not want to treat me like other media, well, then I'm going to be filing a lawsuit against them. Period. Where I'm not going to be playing with Pima County at this point. So we'll figure out where we're going to go from here. But if only they drove around to search, that's the point. But you know what? We're dealing with another Sumner County issue. We got a sheriff that this is way above his head. And he's trying to act like he's got this under control, just like Sheriff Struggles did. And this is not the case that we're dealing with here. Okay, folks, it's just not the case that we're dealing with here. So we're going to have to do something. But moreover, if this is the way it's going to be, we're going to end up having to go out there. But let's keep going.
When a glove was discovered inside Nancy's house behind me, that the sheriff opted to send that glove for testing from a private lab that the sheriff preferred in Florida, instead of taking the advice of the FBI and sending it to their lab, which is obviously the best lab in the world, at Quantico. And we have heard rumblings about this for the last week or so, frustrations on the ground, frustration that the sheriff didn't call the FBI in earlier. But I had no idea it was going to rise to this level, to where he is allegedly holding back critical evidence. And again, I have just learned as recently as last night, critical information was not shared with the FBI, information that the Pima County Sheriff's Office had.
Why? I mean, I know that there's been tension. You and I talked about it. It was kind of a red flag when the sheriff didn't even know Savannah Guthrie and her family were going to release that video, basically pleading to the kidnappers and talking about the ransom. Had no idea. His wife had to tell him. We knew there was a disconnect. Any idea why the sheriff would be doing this?
Look, what I'm told, no, I don't know why, but
what
I'm
it's not.
told is
Hold on.
It could be ego-driven, wanting to be the one to save the
Sorry,
day,
guys, I got
wanting
this
to handle
wrong.
the case himself, not wanting to relinquish power to the FBI, even though the FBI just has more resources. They just do. If it wasn't for the FBI, you mentioned it, we would have never seen the video or the photos from the doorbell camera. The sheriff made clear they couldn't get the video. He said, we tried, not going to be able to get the video, sorry. FBI gets involved, and suddenly they work a deal with Google back-end channels, and we have the video.
And it's concerning. You're talking about an 84-year-old woman, reported mobility issues, needs daily medication. We're 12 days in. Time is not a friend here. So let me ask you this. The new video that they're asking for neighbors, one question would be, why didn't they request this a long time ago? I'm wondering if they learned something new. So two parts about this. Have you spoken to any neighbors about whether they're giving in footage that they may have? And any idea about why authorities are requesting footage from the beginning of January?
Yeah, and a 2-mile radius, too, by the way, Jesse. And the sheriff's office used an app to send out a message to all of the residents within 2 miles of where I'm standing at Nancy Guthrie's house.
If you guys are wondering what we're doing,
anything that might look suspicious, suspicious vehicle, suspicious.
I keep forgetting we're on OBS. We don't have to be on one or the other. We can watch multiple feeds going in at one time. So what we've got here is we're running our show with our regular show while we're showing you what's going out, boots on the ground floor, so we don't have to either do one or the other. We're going to do both. We got picture in picture here. So guys, down at the bottom of it is the live feed coming from boots on the ground, and the stuff where I'm at behind me is the show itself. Hopefully this will help out.
Person, anything that seemed out of the ordinary to them, to submit it to the sheriff's office. And they're going all the way back to January 1st, which is interesting that they chose January 1st as a date, weeks before Nancy Guthrie even went missing. We don't know why they chose January 1st. I heard at one point they were asking neighbors specifically for video from January 11th. So there are obviously leads coming in, and they're trying to pinpoint things that happened on certain days, even before Nancy disappeared.
Would I be totally off to say it has something to do with these reports of a suspicious white van that might have been seen by neighbors, which is interesting because you and I this week, we
talked about that white van. Well, now we're learning they're not interested in a white van. They're now interested in a gray pickup truck.
Down the guy that was detained, ultimately released, and was driving a van, gray van, different. But there was this report of whether or not there was a van in the area. So I'm wondering if that might be what they're looking into. Again, I'm spitballing here.
It could. I think there's different things that they're looking into. It's been my opinion for a while that there are multiple angles that they're looking at. So perhaps it's a white van they're looking for. Maybe there's another person they saw on one camera that looked suspicious. They want to see if they can find that person on another camera. I think there's a lot that they're looking for all at the same time.
Can you provide some clarity about what happened today with this white tent that was at Nancy's house earlier, and whether or not it was related to this official description that they have of the suspect?
Yeah, so there was a white tent that was put up earlier today, kind of came out of nowhere. They put the tent right by the front door, right in the area where the blood was seen on the front step. They covered it all up so we couldn't see in. We saw them bringing in some equipment that looked like photographing equipment, but then they also brought in what they called a forensic height board. And we have a picture of it. I'm not sure if we can pull it up, but it's a board that they use to measure things. And basically, and you're going to see it right here, they basically compare it, zooms in right there. So that's the forensic height board, Jesse. And they use that to compare with the surveillance photos and video of the suspect to try to figure out the height. So that's what they were doing this morning, which makes sense because then it was this afternoon when they released the official description of who they believe, with the height, the weight, all of that with the suspect.
It's a significant development. Progress is great in this. I just wish it wasn't 12 days in. I mentioned the specificity of the backpack. There's been reporting about whether or not it was purchased at a Walmart. One of the key parts of an investigation when you find a suspect is to see any of the items that they're wearing or carrying. Can you go back to purchase history? Do you know if authorities are looking, let's say, at Walmarts in the Tucson area? Are they looking at purchase histories for any of those items? Do you know?
I'm sure they are. And we've confirmed that the Walmarts in this area sell that backpack. So I'm sure they are. It's probably one of the first things they did, Jesse.
Yeah, and, look, I'm hoping the Florida Evidence Lab can actually return back a hit on that rather quickly, but I'm not familiar with it. Real quick, TMZ, they get another note today. This is very hard to know whether or not it's anything. It was a demand for Bitcoin. What can you tell us about that? Any legitimacy to that note?
No legitimacy that we know of.
Okay.
They've been getting notes, it feels like, every day. Today they say there's a note, someone demanding Bitcoin for them to give up the name of a suspect. So, we don't know if they're legitimate.
Extortion
or if they're
is
just people,
extortion.
sending in notes to TMZ, trying to get some cash.
Which is just so disturbing
Cringe.
on so many levels.
Cringe? Cringe is the word that comes to my mind. Cringe. Cringe. That's the word that comes to my mind. Let me see what we got in Brian Enton, Pebbles, Neighbor Ring. Thank you. We're going to go over that next. Thank you. I'll get that up, queued up. Thank you. Let me go this. I'm going to forward this. Let me go over here. We got a couple things before let me go ahead and start Ashley, and I'll pull the other stuff up while we're listening.
Guild, and welcome to Drop Dead Serious. Full disclosure, I got another cold. I just do. And so I may be wiping my nose and clearing my throat. I just got over one. I just got my voice back. But
Ashley Banfield, listen, if your producers watch me, this is the trick, okay? You got to have a multivitamin, 3 vitamin Ds a day. 3 vitamin Ds. Okay? I have stayed healthy for over a decade on 2 very important things, a multivitamin and 3 vitamin D a day. Not B, not C, nothing. D. Multi and D. I have incorporated now an allergy pill, a vitamin D or vitamin B pill, and moringa. I have incorporated moringa in my my vitamins. So if you want to stay healthy, you don't want to be sick, follow the lead for Bullhorn Betty. And trust me, I was sick every time my grandkids came over. They got me sick until I started this new regimen. Multivitamin, 3 vitamin Ds every single day. I have not been sick in over a decade. True story. Okay. Now we're back. If you guys are wondering, we're watching live feed from Boots on the Ground down in the corner, along with our Ashley Banfield Drop Dead Seriously. Drop Dead Serious, and she is sick.
thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to plug through this because it was a really big day again. I've been dropping these podcasts really late at night because I wait for everything. I basically watch the news so you don't have to, and the Twitters and everything else. But I got a huge collection of developments in the Nancy Guthrie case, not the least of which is something that is just sort of massive, and we're only finding out about it on day 12. They found a glove. No, not the one you think you know about. Not the one they found yesterday on the side of the road. The FBI picked it up on the side of the highway. They found a glove inside Nancy Guthrie's home.
This is the most shocking. This is breaking news information. Now, if you're wondering why Jonathan is out searching, it's because nothing else is going on at the house. Typically, the strategy always is to report, until that is done. And while you're still out there, now you start going through the details of the case. You either search or go through the facts of the case. If somebody was arrested and we started knowing details of the case, that's when you get in the car and you start running around from one place to another and explain the breakdown of the case. But we don't have that. We're still in the search phase. So it now seems like Jonathan Lee Riches is now focused on a search phase as part of his content and commentary. So I don't know if I necessarily agree where he's searching, but it's content, right? And it's different than staring directly at the house. And I'm sure he's probably talking about it, but if you want to know, that's the strategy.
So they've had that for a while because they've been in there for a while, right? And now this glove has taken on a bit of a life of its own in terms of politics and anger and sniping. And I've got something else to tell you about tonight with regard to all that. Everybody's piling onto the sheriff because he's sent the glove off for testing to a lab in Florida. Apparently, everyone's saying the FBI is being blocked from key evidence. I don't know that that's entirely true, and I will tell you why.
Well, I guess, she did tell us they were Nest doorbell cameras, that even though everything else that she said may or may not have been accurate, but I don't necessarily, I'm just going to put a disclaimer on here. I'm not an Ashley Banfield BFF. I'm just not. I don't care for her. She does break some news, but she does a lot of shenanigans too. I've known her for years. I personally know her from Gabby Petito and shit she said about me out there on Gabby Petito, which further fractured that. And there's no coming back for her from that. Once I'm done with you, I'm done with you. Even her, there was times, I think it was Idaho 4, her office called me with News Nation to come up on her show. And I told them no. I will not work with Ashley Banfield. I'll not be on her show. I will not. I don't get paid for it, right? And if I'm going to go up there, it's going to be for somebody I like. It's not going to be for clicks and views for me, right? I'm doing it for free. So if I'm going to do it for free, I'm doing it on somebody I like, not somebody I completely can't stand. I don't like Ashley Banfield. I'm not an Ashley Banfield fan. I know there's a lot of people in my chat that are. I'm not the one, unfortunately. I don't like her.
I've talked to a couple of people tonight, somebody who knows the FBI processing inside and out. She has a very different take on it. And so I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But this glove was apparently sent to a Florida lab and not to Quantico, and that may not be a bad thing. Shock. And then also the sheriff himself, who has said he's not going to have any news conferences. He'll, not going to do any one-on-one interviews. He's going to let us know what we need to know when we need to know it. But he spoke to a local reporter, not just any local reporter. He told the anchor of KOLD, Mary Coleman, who was the recipient of one of the alleged ransom emails. He told her some things about this back and forth between, the FBI and the sheriff that's just taking on a life of its own in the media. I'm going to get to that as well. If you were watching a lot of the news today, you probably saw a big hullabaloo about the white tent that went up in Nancy's entranceway. Yep, forensic investigators erected a tent, put the sides down, and went to work, but not before a lot of reporters saw the stuff they were carrying in. So I'm going to show you exactly what it was they were carrying in, and then the work product came out, bam, like within a couple of hours of them closing up that tent. They only had the tent up for about an hour, but they gave us a description of the suspect, of that guy, that eerie, freakish night terror of a criminal who showed up on Nancy's front doorstep on that video camera, right? So they've got a description. I'm going to give that to you.
And we know that his it looked like his glove got torn when he was ripping the foliage out to cover up the camera. It seems like the first latex glove or nitrile glove was visibly altered and broken through. I believe with the violent struggle we have out at that house, I think that they do have this DNA of this subject. What is he? Hold on, let's turn on the volume on this one real quick. Where the hell is it? Oh, there he is. Now let's turn on the volume. He sounds like he's talking to somebody.
You can find, especially after it floods, and stuff gets stirred up, people they'll find weapons or whatever in here.
Really? Weapons?
Stories. Yeah, like what people toss guns over the bridge or whatever.
Toss guns? Like after they commit a crime?
Yeah.
So there's a lot
of crime out here. And then you do have like a certain amount of homeless population that live in some of this area. You'll see sometimes you'll see tents and you'll see stuff when it's not during like a flooding season.
Okay, so let's just think of the perp here. Scenario. Again, it's all speculation. Going down from the Catalina Foothills. Glove found on Campbell. This is Campbell. Person gets down to the intersection right here. River and Campbell. Body evidence. I'm gonna come over here. Yeah. Body evidence. I mean, possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good place to throw stuff over the edge of the bridge.
What about a body?
I mean, I don't know what the camera situation is over here, but
Well, let's walk this way. You can walk okay, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
But there's so many, it's so much traffic. Like, I guess at night, what's it like out here at night?
There's not a whole lot of traffic at night. There's some.
It's very windy out there.
I think, not talking about a body, but I don't think that it'd be unusual to see somebody throw something out their window down over into the brush.
But you could do that anywhere. Throw something.
But
River would be more.
Have you seen the FBI doing a good search over here?
No.
Nobody wants to go down there.
Why? What's down? Is there homeless people down there?
So there's homeless, and then also you notice the smell under the bridge.
It smells bad.
That's bat guano.
What?
Bat guano, bat poop.
Bats.
Yeah.
Bats. They have a lot of bats.
It smells like urine, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's that ammonia smell from the bat poop. I mean, you do get like homeless people that pee under there, but it's mostly the bat.
Yeah, it was a bad stench. I said that on my king. I said it stinks down here.
Yeah.
So it's like a bat cave. So they must have bats come
so there's
out.
how many? A lot of bats under here?
There's tons of bats. You come here at dusk, like in the summertime, and they all come out of the bridge, and it looks almost like smoke coming out from underneath the bridge because it's so thick with just bats coming out.
Wow.
You think
I've seen bats come
it smells
out.
bad now? Try in the middle of summer when it's like 100.
Sorry. Refresh it. Might as well refresh it.
This is around here. Like, like you got to put your.
All right. So let's get back to this. So it's pretty interesting. They got bat poop.
As well, they also have the make of the backpack, formerly black 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker Pack.
There it is.
And then another backpack man surfaced today. Some other dude right around the same time, 5 miles away, carrying what looked like a similar backpack. I've got the resolution to all of that as well. And then guess what? Remember about a week and a half ago, I reported that my source told me that the cameras were smashed, plural, Nest cameras were smashed. Well, we've got
So she's got to hold on to the Nest camera because her that same source, she says, told her that the son-in-law is the prime suspect, which doesn't seem to be the truth.
clarification. There's certainly Nest cameras. And now there is a report that came from Michael Ruiz with Fox Digital that really backs that up. I'm going to get to that as well. I'm going to tell you what it was Michael Ruiz found underneath the Nest cam at Nancy Guthrie's front entrance. First, though, I just have to thank you again for being here. Please subscribe. It really helps. I'm not sure if that's how you...
This lady. Guys, please subscribe.
Just click that thing down below, whatever it is. It really does help as an independent journalist to keep this podcast going if you subscribe.
Everything she said.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't cost you anything.
I actually subscribe to people's podcasts too. So it would do me a solid. So I do ask you, please, from the bottom of my heart, subscribe. If you're already subscribed, thank you for being in this community. I think we're all of the same ilk. We're mindful of how much we want Nancy Guthrie to come home alive.
That is true.
And unharmed physically. Obviously,
I think we
mentally,
can all
it would
agree
be
to
different.
that.
But we were also just sort of obsessed with how the hell this thing actually happened. And what happened, right? It's just so perplexing. And so with you, I feel as though we're in this together, sort of this crowdsourcing crime solving. And mark my words, the true crime community does a lot of this. They found Gabby Petito, for God's sake. So, yeah. You're important, and you're important to me, and I couldn't do this without you. And I also couldn't do this without my sponsors, and I've got a really good one that I absolutely love. I've got a bunch of it in my freezer right now. Wild Grain. If you haven't checked it out yet, you have to. It's the first bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough bread. Love it. Artisanal pastries, fresh pastas, and everything bakes in like 25 minutes or less. What's even better is that everything they have in there is real. The ingredients, you can actually pronounce them. So I'm super obsessed with the sourdough bread. I have it for breakfast every morning. Yeah, with like yummy butter. And during the cold winter days that I've been dealing with for the last month, it's been really nice to be able to bake it because you can smell it all throughout the house.
Smell it throughout
These boxes
the house,
also are all fully customizable.
We're getting past.
So,
listen,
you know,
Ashley,
kind of nice.
Thank you for grifting, but we're going to get back to your show. Isn't that what they call it, grifting? I never did that. but I was called a grifter.
Okay, just be careful. Don't walk under a ladder. The black cat thing I don't believe in, but okay. So Fox News Digital was the first to report this, and then everybody sort of jumped on it as well and confirmed it, that a glove was found in Nancy Guthrie's home, right? Remember how the homicide squad was there that day on February 1st, the Sunday when she was reported missing? They came in, and the sheriff said the homicide squad was there. And we were all like, wait, what? She's reported missing, but you brought in the homicide squad? So they probably would have found that glove right away, right? My source told me there was blood inside the home. My thoughts are they probably found that glove. And you know,
I can tell you that when we heard this and we heard the homicide investigators were called in, we knew right then and there that there was blood inside that home. I said it. I said that there is no reason for them to call the homicide for a missing person. Even if they thought there was an abduction, they would have called major crimes in. They called the homicide investigators in. That tells me that there was blood in and outside of that home, or outside of that home. So tell me she stops. She's muted. Who's muted? I'm not muted. I can see my thing go up and down, up and down. Oven Baby, I think you might be muted, unless you muted me. Speaking of advertisement, I just got one. We do have advertisements on the show, okay? I'm just not doing the I don't have sponsors. I'm not stopping my show for my sponsors, okay? We have YouTube advertisement. I don't have control. Well, I do have a little bit of control over there. I turn it on or turn it off, and I turn it on because obviously we do this. I mean, this is a full-time job.
what? Thank God. Because I can tell you this. Gloves are a mine of information, right? There's so much information in a glove. Those plasticky, latexy ones, you sweat in them. And in your sweat is your DNA. So you sweat all over the inside of the glove and you leave your DNA behind. But you also leave fingerprints in there. Sometimes there's a little bit of powder in there. And if you sweat a lot and the powder gets used up, you still could leave some really good prints in a glove, right? And when you pull that latex glove off, thwap, it pulls skin cells, right? So gloves are really
Look
good
at all that media.
for the DNA
Look
of the
at that
perpetrator.
media.
And then, of course, on the outside of the glove, you would want to know that Nancy...
I just want you guys to understand what type of environment these investigators are literally working in. That's got to be distracting. That's got to be wholly distracting. You know, we didn't have stuff like this in Gabby Petito. When the people were searching, we were kept at bay. Like we had an area, media had an area to be at. They would come out and talk to us about any findings and stuff like that just to keep us away. But they're having to do this on, you know, roadways and stuff like that. And you see the media circus and the paparazzi out there trying to get any little semblance of information that they can. The problem is they should have had this road. If they're checking this road, they should have media cut off. Like they should have, you know, I don't know how they do policing out here, but this is different than the way we do it in Florida. If they were searching in Florida, this whole road would be cut off. You'd have police tape up, keeping the media out. They may or may not take a media personnel for, you know, like the stock, like they pull in like a pooled photographer or recorder, and they go in there just one each, and they get the footage and they share the footage out because it's no longer theirs, right? They can't hold a copyright to it because, you know, that would be unfair. So they would be like this pooled camera or videographer that goes in there with them potentially, and then they share that stuff out with the other media. And so people, I've seen that happen before, but this right here is to me is unprofessional. Law enforcement should have shut this down. They should have had tape up. These people shouldn't have been able to get this close to the investigators. I've never seen this before. Like even when Audrey Cunningham, they were at a park where this girl, a public park where this girl, they shut us all out. Like we had to have long gauge cameras to see what they were doing because they kept us so far back. You know, when they were doing investigative work, when they were doing searches, why are these camera people right up on these investigators? They should be back. They should be back far enough, you know, not so far, but they should be forced to be across the street while they're doing their job. They shouldn't be able to reach out and touch these investigators. What if they're contaminating other evidence that's blowing onto that road that they're trying to find? At the end of the day, what I see here is improper. But again, I look at the best in law enforcement across this country, and I've seen the absolute worst in the law enforcement across this country. This is coming up to, Sumner County level bullshit. Sorry, not sorry.
Nancy's DNA is on the outside, but since it's found in her house, I'm guessing Nancy's DNA is on the glove. So that's a good thing. Multiple outlets were reporting that the sheriff sent that glove off for testing to a Florida lab, a private Florida lab. And then, everything blew up, right? Everybody went fucking apeshit over this. So I want to set the record straight on what all that means. And I'm also going to read for you what the sheriff told a local KOLD journalist named Mary Coleman. She's the anchor of KOLD who was the recipient of that first alleged ransom overture. Lots of outlets have reported that the sheriff blocked the FBI from key evidence
I'll be right back.
in sending this glove off to the Florida lab. Wow, that sounded awful and nasty and mean and all the rest. And I'm a bit pissed off that the sheriff's talking to Mary Coleman and not the rest of us, because he said he's not doing one-on-one interviews and he's not giving press conferences. But you know what? Good for Mary. She got good reporting. Here's what she wrote on her Twitter. I still call it Twitter. I just spoke with the sheriff and I asked him about this article from Reuters. Reuters had this report about sending the glove off to the Florida lab. He tells me there's been no evidence blocked in this case, but says the department did want all evidence submitted to the same lab versus multiple labs. He says in a meeting with the FBI today, one of the agents said, quote, "We do not want the media to divide us." We've also reached out to the FBI for response on this. The sheriff said there is still no sign of Nancy, but they have, quote, good leads. Again, that's Mary Coleman's reporting. She scored an interview with the sheriff. Good for her. But let's talk a little bit about this.
Where was that?
O'Connell tonight.
There we go.
If you don't know Maureen O'Connell, you should. She's retired FBI special agent, 25 years, runs her own personal security operation on the West Coast. She's super smart, really skilled. She's been, at this game a long time. And I was surprised when I asked her to weigh in on this. She said, "I don't think that's such a bad thing." I said, "Wait, do what now?" Because everybody's reporting that the FBI and the local sheriff were at loggerheads and the glove went off to the Florida lab and damn it, the FBI doesn't have access. And she said, no, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. In fact, she went further and she said to me that there is a private lab and she thinks, she's not sure, but she thinks that the lab that the sheriff sent the glove to might be the DNA Labs International in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And if that is the lab, they solved the Colonial Parkways murder cases. And when I say solved, like a lot, like at least six murders are now attributed to a dead guy through this lab. And they're looking at potentially tagging another 15 more murders on him as well. The guy was Alan Wade Wilmer Sr.
I don't really care. At the end of the day, this is a joint investigation. They've utilized a lot of resources from the FBI. The FBI has obviously taken over this case at some point. Let it go, took it over, 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 right? And I'm not really pleased with the stuff that we've heard or uncovered in this particular case so far, in all fairness. I'm not really happy with what we've learned. Only men would like her. Desperate. I don't know who you guys are talking about. A tracking dog at this point is useless. A cadaver dog could be used, but you would have to have a fresh dig site. That's crazy. That's crazy. Delilah looks so cute. She does, doesn't she? Well, I don't know. She'll be out. It depends on how cold it is when we get to Tennessee. But I am bringing her with me, but I don't know if she'll be out with us. So you might be able to see the famous Delilah. You might not. All right, let's get back here.
He murdered 2 young women in 1986, another one in 1988. And like I said, they've already, this lab, if this is a lab, if they went to DNA Labs International in Deerfield Beach, Florida with that glove, Maureen O'Connell says they're good. They're really good. And that there's not that antagonism necessarily automatically if you're using a private lab. So let's just throw a little cold water on that. I do know that there is acrimony in that department. My source told me about that.
That's what I was about to say. Wait a minute. We know for a fact, because I've got some stuff. We're not done yet. I got some stuff here because we know that there is some major issues where this particular sheriff, now that I'm finally having an opportunity to research, he was almost arrested for misappropriation of funds. Somebody ended up self-harming themselves to get out of trouble, and they ended up letting him go. So this sheriff probably shouldn't be a sheriff. He should probably have retired when he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
We could go Tuesday. A lot of acrimony in that department. And then there's been an exodus from the department as well, Sheriff's Department. Look, police have taken it on the chin for the last 5 years, and there's been an exodus in general policing. So that might be also a factor. And that there's the homicide guys, from what I have gathered, there's a lot of new guys on that force. I'm not throwing water on them. They're new. They've got some, they got to put in their time. But the older, more experienced guys have left. And so there might be some newer blood that doesn't have all the experience of the gumshoes from, that preceded them. So that's the way I read into this glove business. And I would wait to hear a little bit more reporting as to whether there is this antagonism between the feds and the locals. I know everybody has said it's taken a long time to bring the feds into the fold. That may have already been a mistake, and the sheriff already owned that one too. I think he said, okay, that's on me for releasing the scene. I'm not sure if he said that's on me for bringing.
Yeah, he did. He shouldn't have released the scene, and he should have brought the feds in a lot sooner. And now he's dogging the feds. I don't know what's wrong with this man. And this idea that there's not an issue here. Clearly there is. We got News Nation reporting on it. We got Fox News reporting on it. We have people that have sources in areas that are, without a doubt, reporting on this intentional thwarting of federal agents. So let's not play like this isn't going on. It is.
Bringing the feds in later. I think he did. But it's something else in the Reuters article that was interesting is that the law enforcement source that spoke with Reuters, a federal law enforcement source, said that the sheriff has spent $200,000 to send evidence to the Florida lab. That's
what I told you. $200,000. And the feds could have taken it. So you're taking people's money out in Arizona. You're not giving them lights. You're shaming them into silence by saying it's for the animals, right? Meanwhile, this lady has probably been home invaded, shot dead, and they're playing games with the evidence and further taxing their taxpayers.
Fine. That's not much. If there's a lot of work that needs to be done and it needs to be tested, fine. There's also there's a clock ticking.
I believe that
when
too.
You're trying to solve a murder, there isn't a clock ticking, so to speak. But when you're trying to find a missing person, there is, because the number one priority is to find Nancy alive, and so spend that money, find that DNA, rush job, all of that. I get that. Rush job. Yeah. 200,000. Boy, I hope there's more than just a glove being sent to that lab. And I hope it is that lab, DNA Labs International, Deerfield Beach, Florida. They solved the Colonial Parkway's murder cases. Thank you. Othram Labs down in Texas. They solved the Brian Kohberger case. These private labs are good. So we shouldn't shit on anybody for using them.
Man, she went from news anchor to content creator real quick. Did you hear the bombs she's dropping? She dropped the F-bomb. She dropped the F-bomb. She's enjoying being on the other side, it sounds like. She's utilizing it well. Just saying.
And I hope that the
Take it for what you want.
acrimony that's being reported between the sheriff and the feds is not what it sounds like in the press, and that I hope that it's not the press ginning it all up. Everybody should take a step back because this work is hard. It's hard doing it under the microscope. And it's hard when there's this many reporters, that are getting information. It's a big job and it's a lot. And there's a woman's life at stake.
There's a lot of leaks.
I'm always wanting to offer some grace. I also want to mention this because I've been at this game for 38 years.
She wouldn't show me grace.
So long.
Interesting.
12 days is not very long. It is an eternity for the Guthrie family who want their mother home. I get that. But 12 days to solve a crime.
All right, let's go over here because this seems like it's ruling a... I don't know what this is all about.
Just talking to people.
Okay.
What do you do, like walks with your dog?
Yes, man. I'm looking for a part-time job, too.
Looking for a part-time job? What do you do?
Well, we just moved here from New York.
New York, you got the New York accent. Where?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. So you moved here, you're looking for a job?
I've been a dispatcher.
Dispatcher?
In the courier industry. Bikers, walkers, van drivers.
Yeah.
Since 1979, owned my own company 3 times with different partners, all except for one. Stayed the same. Applied to like a lot of the big stores down here. In fact, I still got to do Target. Didn't do Target yet.
Target?
But it's difficult.
Where do you live?
Up River Road.
Oh, okay.
Come on, sweetie.
What's your dog's name?
Libby.
Hey, Libby.
Say hello.
Libby got a rain jacket.
Yeah, so you never know if it's going to start when you're out.
Well, it doesn't rain much around here, does it?
No.
I need a rain jacket for Delilah. It's starting to get pixely. We'll go back to our other stuff.
Is nothing. It takes a lot longer. And if you talk to the cold case guys, it can take decades, right? I hope that's not the case here. But I think when we all looked at the Spencer and Monique Tepe story, it took 10 days to track Michael McKee and arrest him, allegedly for these double murders. That's 10 days. And they had everything. They had like the popcorn trail on video, right? So that was quick. That was really quick. And we're at 12 days right now. And I know it's frustrating.
And you know what the Tepe case had in Columbus, Ohio, that they don't have here in Tucson, Arizona? They had lights. They had lights so the cameras could pick up everything so beautifully. It's amazing. Columbus, Ohio seems to take personal safety as their priority versus animal welfare.
People want resolution. People want to see Nancy home and safe. But 12 days isn't a long time. And patience is your friend when you're an investigator. You wait for the guy, obviously, to feel comfy and screw up. And let's just hope they're as dumb as they usually are and that they're going to screw up. There was earlier reporting today as well that the sheriff's office is confirming testing is underway on multiple gloves. Multiple gloves. Well, we saw one on the side of the road. The New York Post was right there. I mean, talk about great reporting. They were right there filming. They got the video of the agents getting that glove on the side of the road about 1.5 miles, I think, from Nancy's house. Don't know what the result of that is, and I'm sure we won't for some time. But then multiple gloves. Fox News was reporting Trace Gallagher out in front of Nancy's house last night that they found a pair of gloves. And now this report that there is a single glove that was found in Nancy's home. And that it was sent off for testing. So multiple gloves are being tested. Good. Great. Happy to hear that. Let's hope that the guy who was wearing them, if it was a guy, is in the CODIS system, right? Because what you do is you get the DNA and you put it into CODIS.
I really believe that they've got to have his DNA in the house, guys. How many believe? Let's do ones and twos. Let's do ones and twos. We got like 360 people in this Friday morning. How many of you guys believe they may have something that contains his DNA on it? If you believe they might have something that contains his DNA on it, put a 1 in the chat. If you think that this person was too sleuth and was too stealth and was able to get around all of this, put a 2 in the chat. 1, that you believe his DNA is at the scene. 2, that his DNA is not at the scene. I think it's a big break with that glove. I pray to God it is. But who knows? Who knows? 1. Okay, yeah, we got some 1s. I think they got the DNA. They do. Yeah, I think they got the DNA. 40 after 41 minutes. Yeah, he was around that house too long. And now that they've got camera footage, I bet you they got a lot more camera footage than that guy thinks. I mean, having that camera on top of the house, or the guest house, that's huge. That's huge. I think they at least, okay, Edward doesn't believe that they have DNA. That's interesting. Well, they may not have it yet, but I think something in the house does have DNA on it. Juice Davis doesn't. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know whether they do or not. I'm just very hopeful that they do. I'm very hopeful that they do. So, now that we see that camera coming off it gives us a new perspective on what might be on that camera, because I think they've got the cluster of areas. I think he touched something, and it's the glove being left at the scene, because people, think about it. When they take the gloves out of the box, yeah, maybe they're using it not to have DNA or fingerprints on things. But think about it. Let's see what's going on here. Hold on a second. This must be the dog walker.
Go on flipping. I'm going to hit the city agency. Also try the police department, the sheriff's department.
We both got our hoods on today.
Yeah.
Colder.
Yeah, it's not the cold. I was just worried about the rain. It's like already blue sky.
Maybe
over
one.
there.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish you luck. Be safe. Thank you for your time. Thank you. You too. All right. Nice guy. We were just talking. He's just moved here from Brooklyn. He's looking for a job. All right, so let's get back to subject matter. This is Campbell and River Road. This would be the southeast section of this whole mystery.
This is where this is the intersection they're talking about that she's near.
At one point, after the crime at Nancy's home. Everybody has been looking and scouring the maps, different locations. This spot could be a key to this case down the line. As the glove, we don't know if it's connected to the case, was found up the road here. You start to go up into the Catalina Foothills. This is like the bottom of the Catalina Foothills. You start going up. The glove was found up the road here. And then eventually get up to Nancy's home. You make a left.
That means that glove could have been on his way out.
What's going on around here?
And this would have been
heavily trafficked in the daytime.
I wonder what it looks like at night.
Cameras everywhere. Cameras. Now I will also report.
Interesting.
I don't know which exact media outlet, but they talked about these intersections. Who knows if the cameras worked or not? They might not even be working. It might be fake cameras. It might be budget. They don't have the money to maintain the cameras. They might not have record the data, similar to the cameras at Nancy's home when it didn't go into the cloud. So Perp could have came here, cameras maybe not captured, maybe didn't work, operational, we don't know. But it will be awfully shameful if the perp did come down through here and the cameras weren't working. Because that would have been a lost opportunity. We shall see. We shall see.
All right.
So I'm going to cross the road. I'm going to go across the road. And we're going to go over here and then go back down and we're going to get in our car. But I don't know. Also, it appears the ones on Oracle, it was like multiple jurisdictions. I don't know what media outlet reported, but they talked about the cameras. I believe the one on Oracle over there is run by the Arizona Department of Transportation. Then you got different cameras run by Pima County and different cameras run by Tucson. So each one in different areas operate these cameras. Are they really working or not? Because we haven't seen any footage of any vehicle. And we know 100% fact that a vehicle had to go through one of these intersections. They don't release the camera footage of any vehicle. So, to me...
Oh, he's having bad technical stuff, so we'll just try to wait until it's caught up real quick. See if it will catch up. There he goes.
Suspect. Fish.
So now we just checked in. Let's get back.
And if he's got a criminal record, boop, up he comes, and then you can start doing a little bit more gumshoe work, detective work after that. I heard something today that floored me. The former Pima County Sheriff's SWAT commander said that the county itself, Pima County, is the size of Rhode Island and Connecticut combined. Just think about that for a second. Pima County itself, just the county, is the size of Rhode Island and Connecticut combined. So that is a lot of ground to cover, right? For this department, for these officers, and a lot of ground for them to cover as well in this investigation. It's just, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting it to be that big. To that end, the FBI says since February 1st, which was when Nancy Guthrie was reported missing, the feds have received 13,000 tips. The feds. Remember we heard yesterday, since Feb 1, 18,000 tips have come into the sheriff's department? 13,000 have come into the feds. It's amazing. They also said that every single one of them is assessed. And this is great. I love this because I love the formal language that they use. They said each of these tips is assessed by threat intake examiners. Threat intake examiners. And they do this at the National Threat Operations Center. So it's a big deal. They also said that they've got a 24-hour command post now set up on this case. And I heard that they were going around the clock before. I thought it was just it was just colloquial, but it's true. They're working 24 hours. So I wanted you to see, I got a lot more for you, but I just wanted to bring you some color from the crime scene and all the reporters who are lined up along the street where Nancy Guthrie lives. And I'm using present tense. Nancy Guthrie lives on that street, and I hope she comes home to that house. And Brian Enton is out there all day in the pounding sun, collecting information, gathering data, talking to sources, interviewing people. And then he stopped down for a bit today to do something for us, just to bring us there. And this is like, I don't know, it's repertorial because when you're transported to the location, suddenly you get a very different feel for what it's like to investigate there, report there, be there. And he did what's called like the ride along. He drove his car and he took us on a ride along to show us Nancy's neighborhood, how complex it is. Imagine how dark it would be at night with no lights, because apparently they've got an agreement that they can't have lights in this neighborhood with the University of Arizona because of some kind of an astronomy research program. But here's Brian Enton's drive around, and I just think it's really enlightening.
And I just don't think people realize we have the drone and you can kind of get a sense of the...
I just want to put this out here. The university, I mean, I understand the University of Arizona and contract and stuff like that, but that should never, ever, ever trump somebody's personal safety. And this is obviously creating a dangerous situation for the citizens of this area. And it has to come to an end. It has to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's got to come to an end.
The land. But in terms of getting to Nancy Guthrie's house, these roads are twisty and turny, and there's big dips, and there's only a couple of ways in and out. This video here kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like when you're driving in.
Now, he's speeding up, but what you notice is that these roads always have crossroads. They're always turning, moving. You're going from this side to this side. If you go straight, you're going to hit something. You're constantly having to turn this way, 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 turn this way. It's never a straight road back there. It's all intertwined. It's insanity.
In here, and I've now been here for almost 2 weeks, and I was thinking about this last night when I was leaving, Nicole. Even when I leave after 2 weeks, I have to put the address to my hotel in my GPS because I can never quite figure out how to get out of the neighborhood. And I've been here every single day, and I've been coming and going all day long, which gives you an idea of how confusing and twisty and turny it is in here. And this video really demonstrates that, Nicole. So just, it makes you think whoever came in here to do this to Nancy, knew where they were going, essentially.
Right.
What I really liked about that was just imagine how hard it would be to get the ring cams, right? Like those ring cameras for all those houses that he drove by aren't going to see much.
But let's look at what we do catch on a ring camera. If you guys are new to this show, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering true crime. This is a ring cam that came in from somebody else's house out there in that area. This guy, in all fairness, could look like this guy here. This guy could look like this guy here. Let's not forget that. Let's listen to what we got going on here.
Like you've seen a lot of homeless, activity and stuff down there, but my take is it's definitely not I don't think it's a random crime per se, because you've been in that neighborhood all week, the last couple weeks, and you really have to get off the main roads into those neighborhoods, and
somebody close. It's somebody close.
It's a random.
It's somebody that knows this area.
New.
I think there's some sort of connection somewhere, in my opinion, because I do real estate. I install real estate signs for the last 7 years.
And no offense, but people are saying that mustache, you're the guy.
Yeah, no.
We always get that. We always get that.
I've been watching.
Every time I interview somebody, you might watch yourself later and go like, he's the perp.
I've been watching your streams, and every person you show, like, that's a suspect. No,
but he's not the suspect.
But just for the record, there's probably not a neighborhood that I haven't been in.
Yeah.
Because I do this 5 times a week, and we're in Green Valley, even RICO.
RICO?
Yeah, we're just.
So they travel. That's probably how that guy got caught up in the
I'm
suite.
like a Dateline fan. It's kind of like intriguing,
Well, that's why I think everyone's watching.
In all respect,
like
it's like Dateline live. It's kind of like. So it's just, and especially being in Tucson, it's kind of like, wow,
Nothing ever happened like this in Tucson?
No, not to this extent, and I understand, the media coverage it's getting because of Savannah, which is understandable, but it's pretty crazy, man.
It's overwhelming.
And I live like 10 minutes from Nancy's house, so it's pretty.
So
pretty
is this officially Tucson here? Like, it seems like this right here, like once we're here, we're like the city limits here now.
The city limits, it's kind of the foothills, Catalina Foothills.
Yeah.
So my boy, he goes to school at Catalina Foothills High School, just down the road. My mom works there. And then you get up northern into Oro Valley, and then like I'm headed to Oracle and San Manuel. But it's sort of like Phoenix. To me, it's just Phoenix. But you got Chandler, all these. So it's kind of like that. It's Tucson to me, but you got Catalina Foothills, Oro Valley, Vail, South Tucson, Tucson Metro, and then you got Marana, but it's kind of all
I'm gonna put you on the spot about Pima County Sheriff's Department. How do you feel about the Pima County Sheriff's Department? Because we're hearing a lot of things now. You know, they're not working with the FBI, the original stage, or them handling this case. Do you have confidence in them?
I agree with a lot of people. It should have, like, even watching your streams, like the Domino's guy walking up, the lady walking up, and you know, the one that was yelling at you guys and stuff. I think it should have been closed off since day one, and flagged, taped, and not released to.
You don't need to be a rocket science to realize what proper procedure is.
Like you said, there's a lot of people walking up and down on a active crime scene, so it's kind of like
crazy.
What are we doing here? You know, so it's kind of. And then him at the U of A game was kind of not a good look. In the face. I mean, I understand.
People have been asking me if he's going to go there Saturday for the game this weekend.
Yeah, and it's a big game.
It's a big game.
Game day will be there, so it's
I'm sure he won't be back there.
Yeah, so to me, like I was telling my wife, it's like, I understand you're not on the job 24/7. You need to clear your head, but I mean, do that out of the public eye, you know, because it doesn't look good. Now you're pretty much blasted all over news medias for being at a basketball game. You know,
I know.
With, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest missing cases.
But do you think what do you think this will get solved?
See, that's the thing. That's the thing.
If so, when?
That's the thing. It's like I think when the iron was hot, Pima County failed to strike.
That's exactly
That's my opinion.
Yep.
So now we're 2 weeks in.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think we're kind of just grasping for straws. You know, we need all the video footage from 2 mile radius, and that's a lot of activity for, you know, like you've been seeing how busy this intersection is, and it's probably not as busy at 2 or 3 in the morning. But
well, what is it like around here at 2 or 3 in the morning? I mean, there would be a few cars, or much less. Obviously.
Yeah, probably less. I've never really been out here during that time, but even at midnight, 1 in the morning, it's not, you know, when you leave a U of A game, because I work at the U of A during the football season as a PA spotter, so we have a lot of late games, and all that's pretty much game day traffic, and it's even then it's not real heavy, but during the day, forget it. You know, it's
traffic.
There's traffic everywhere.
And cameras, all these businesses too.
And 2 weeks is a long time, man. For, like I said, you have to strike with the iron's hot, because that gives 2 weeks for whoever did it to, you know, discarded evidence that they may have left somewhere or whatever. But it's just crazy, man. And you're doing an excellent job.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You know,
bringing awareness.
Boots on the ground, man.
Boots on the ground. Thanks for your time, brother.
Yeah,
be safe.
You, bro.
Be safe.
You need anything? You good?
No. I'm just looking at your pipes, your signs here. Cool stuff.
Pipes, your pipes, he says.
I'm good.
I'm looking at your pipes. I bet you are. Which way do you? Never mind. I should shut up. All right. So we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled program. It is nice to be able to have these two alternating feeds coming in right now, but we're in the next feed, which is Ashley Banfield, and trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, in the darkness, a car driving by way down your driveway through the thicket of the scrub, you know, it's going to be really hard to solve this in the way that, you know, the McKee arrest happened. That was all video trailing, right? On the freeways and on the highways, and then in the neighborhoods, all those cameras and all those ring cams, those are neighborhoods. They're all close together. There's no trees blocking the ring cams. This is different. This is really different. So to that end, the FBI boosted the reward today. They doubled it. It's gone from $50,000 to $100,000. And that, by the way, weirdly enough, that will generate more tips. Just by boosting the reward, apparently it gets people thinking, okay, maybe it's worth it now that I get involved. A lot of people just don't want to get involved. Whatever they know, people are afraid of the police. They're afraid of getting involved. They don't have a duty to report. Americans, you do not have a duty to report. You are not legally bound to report. Morally? Yeah, morally you're legally bound. Or morally you're bound, but legally you're not. But $100,000 now. Maybe some people who were a bit apprehensive before, who know something about some guy who was talking about that balaclava, he was talking about that ski mask, or I saw that backpack and that ski mask at my friend's house. I'm not getting involved. Well, maybe now they might, right? $100,000 on the line. Okay, so I want to talk about the significance of the white tent that went up at Nancy Guthrie's front door today. You probably saw that they all showed up, the forensic examiners came up.
As you guys see, I was trying to look, and it does look like that guy in that image of the Ring doorbell might look like the face of the sketch that the renowned sketch artist made based upon the visible structure behind that mask. This might be very, very, very interesting, folks. And quite frankly, it could be something. We don't know. Is it something? Is it nothing?
And they erected the white tent at her front door, and then down went the flaps, and nobody could see inside what they were doing, but we could see what they brought with them. And that was key, because the equipment kind of told the story about the job they were doing, right? And they brought with them a high-resolution piece of video equipment. It's called the Ultra Studio 4K Mini.
It is an encoder. Clearly, nobody knows what that is. It's an encoder. It's to live stream in real time. It's what we're getting for this office. It should be here in next week. Like, we got 7 days. My encoder should be here. I'll show you. It looks exactly like what you were just looking at.
And basically, that allows you to record in high definition. Like, if you're doing investigations, you can really zero down on something on the ground. I think somebody mentioned that maybe they're doing more testing on the blood. I'm not so sure that might have been it. Maybe. I think maybe they were looking for footprints. I think they were looking to get the footprint of the perpetrator. Because it's dusty in Arizona, right? There's light dust all the time in the desert. And so he may have left these footprints. And now, unfortunately, a lot of people have left footprints as well. Somebody delivered a package, right? Someone delivered a package. Because in the video of the perpetrator, there's no package. And then when Brian Enton goes on Monday evening, there's a package there. So there's a delivery guy. And then there's been reporters, and then there's been police and everything too.
Mama.
But they've maybe started to look for the footprints exactly that they can match up with the video. Maybe. They also took something called a height chart, right? Height board. And it's visible. You can see it. It's a height board. And wouldn't you know it, they were there for an hour, and down went the tent, and not long after that, they came out with a description of the suspect.
Probably turned them off on purpose to protect the students. They're very well could have a thing around here where they just say, turn the cameras off. Turn the cameras off. You know, you got cameras, different administration, different people, city officials might say, oh, well, we don't have the money. Or they mismanage money and say, well, you know, there's a certain budget allocated a year for the cameras, right? But we have a budget shortfall or whatever. I don't know the finances in Pima. I'm just speculating. Tucson. Oh, just turn the cameras off. Because there's no camera footage of a vehicle. We have one of the Ring camera, but none of the vehicle, which is like everyone's like, where's the vehicle?
And we know that we're looking for a gray truck at this moment, a gray truck. If you're new to this case, we're covering the case of Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother. We are following this case. We're breaking it down for each and every one of you. The problem is, in this particular matter, we don't know where to look. We don't know if this is a loaned intruder that's unconnected with the family, if this is a ransom for hire, if this was a murder for hire. We don't know. But what we're hearing is that somebody broke into her house, abducted her out of her bed, removed her from the home, didn't take anything with them. We know that there is now a glove left inside of the home and a gray pickup truck that they are absolutely searching for at this moment. If you can help, please reach out to 88-CRIME. 88-CRIME. Thank you.
Better than we've had before. I don't know why it took so long, because we've had that video now for 2 days. Kind of feel like they could have done that right away, but especially when agents went out to her house at 2 a.m. yesterday, I thought, okay, well, all right. So anyway, today we've got this description. And he is, a male, 5'9" to 5'10", with an average build. So the FBI Operational Technology Division is likely the group that put this out, right? Likely the group that did all this. They came with the forensic equipment and did that kind of investigation this morning and then put that information out. John Miller, one of my favorites. He's so smart. He works on CNN. He used to work for ABC. He was a reporter for a long time. Then he worked for, City of New York in counterterror.
Hey, B. Betty.
He called it
Laura, it's nice to see you.
Photogrammetry. I love that word, photogrammetry. Anyway, John Miller, I saw him talking about it today. He said photogrammetry was likely used in order to use that height chart, use the video, and come up with this description of a male 5'9" to 5'10" with an average build. The interesting thing is the average build, I'm not so sure, because a lot of people have talked about how he looks stuffed, right? His clothes look stuffed. His shirt or his jacket, whatever you want to call it, looks stuffed.
I don't
That his
think
gloves
so.
look stuffed. That his pants look stuffed.
I don't believe it.
Some people even said that his balaclava, ski mask, looked stuffed. I don't think he was that smart. Something just tells me by the way he was operating, he didn't have that much forethought
That's really important, because a lot of people don't realize that what we're seeing here is not somebody very bright. It's not somebody that we are determining as somebody that, like everything that was on him outside of the gloves and the backpack and everything like that appeared to have been stolen from other property. Like the holster for the gun didn't match the gun. It looked like everything was, at least that aspect of it appeared not to fit right. So who was this guy? And, do they or have they heard? Does this have sound to it? Did they hear a popping of a gun? Did they hear the altercation inside that home? We don't know what other information law enforcement has, but they have something.
put himself on camera looking bigger than he was. Maybe. It's just something to think about.
I don't think it is.
Something else that was reported today that this stopped me in my tracks. I had to get some candy after this one. Michael Ruiz, again, great reporter for Fox Digital, just great. He reported that a member of the team that went to Nancy's front door and put that white tent up worked on the Kohberger case as well.
We reported that yesterday.
They all come together, don't they? They're FBI, so I don't doubt that happened. But they have this remarkable expertise, and they crisscross the country helping everybody solve their, crimes. But that really floored me when Michael Ruiz recognized one of the FBI members as being from the Kohberger case.
We heard that. We reported on that. I want to say it was yesterday or maybe even the day before. I can't remember when we heard that one of the investigators from the Brian Kohberger case was there. And it was the one that helped identify who he is.
Let's talk about the backpack, shall we? I have been dying to talk about this all day. When you look at night vision, you always have to think in reverse. So when something appears light, it's usually dark. When something appears dark, it's usually light. And the backpack kind of looked like it was tan in the night vision doorbell cam, but it ain't. It's black.
It's gray.
Confirmed by the FBI, it is a black 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker pack.
Smoke color.
Backpack. You can buy it at
Smoke
Walmart.
color.
Very, very common. I heard
This is
somebody
black.
today from the Arizona area saying,
It is not this color.
this is going to be a tough one because this is an area where there's a ton of hiking. Pima County, there's a ton of hiking, a lot of hikers, and a lot of people would be using something like this. And if it's sold at Walmart, there'll be a lot of them. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Every time you ring one of these babies up, anything in Walmart, there is a code. It is registered. The time, the date, the cashier, everything. Okay?
I can tell you that Walmart has probably one of the most sophisticated systems as far as loss prevention that I've ever seen. I know other big organizations also have it, but the one that Walmart has is amazing. I don't know how, obviously whoever designed their program is, has scaling and everything in mind, because that's what they have to do. They're on such a massive scale. But to have that type of input, have that type of system, have that point where you can type in the receipt number and get the image, the little video of you purchasing it, is stinking amazing. Like literally amazing. The type of programs, the type of logistical programs that they have behind the scenes with Walmart are impressive, to say the least. Oh, sorry.
To check that particular code on that pack. How many were sold? When were they sold? Let's see the camera, because the cameras are above all of those cashiers. Many a criminal has been caught this way. Anna Walsh's husband, Brian Walsh, was caught buying a bunch of stuff to clean up his mess after he cut her up, after he murdered her. Wow. And that's just the most recent one that comes to mind. There was another man in Houston who killed a beautiful realtor. He was seen on, I think it was a Target camera, buying some of the supplies he was using, to cover up his murder. It's like they're bozos. They're absolute bozos. And thank God for the bozos, because they're easier to catch. Even Brian Koberger, who thought he was so smart with his PhD work in criminology, was a bozo. Took his own car to his own murder. Fucking idiot. Thank God for that. So, to the backpack story.
Like I said, I never heard her say the F-bombs or anything like that, but, she's kind of away from News Nation a little bit, and she's kind of speaking her truth without having to be censored.
You probably heard a lot about the other backpack guy today. Everybody was freaking out on the backpack guy 5 miles away.
This guy
There's
is not
this shady character who kind of looks a little like the guy on, Nancy Guthrie's camera, but his jacket's open. He looks like he's the same build. He's got a black backpack on, but he's carrying a light backpack that really stuffed. Looks just like the one in the night vision. It looks just like the one in the night vision if you don't do the reversing, right? The reversing is that the perpetrator at Nancy Guthrie's home, it looked light because it's black. But in the colorized video, 5 miles down the road, that is a light backpack. And it didn't take long before the authorities knocked down this whole scenario. They cleared him. It ain't him. The timeline didn't work any.
It ain't him, but look at all these people that are creeping. These people are freaking creeping. They should have taken his DNA. They should have taken his fingerprints and start doing some research to find out what crimes he's committed in the community. This is insane. This is pure insanity, in my opinion. Tucson is a scary place for me. Even you rich folks think you're safe. Look at your sheriff. You ain't safe. You ain't safe. You being punked and you being conned. People are creeping around your house at night and you can't even see them. That's scary.
Anyway, the pictures that you're seeing is in between the first time at 1:47 a.m. that Nancy Guthrie's cameras were tampered with and disconnected, and 2:12 a.m., which is my next piece of reporting, when these images apparently were captured. So it's a little hard for somebody to drive that far, 5 miles away, and be in between those two. Anyway, that was all knocked down. So if you were all wound up about that today, you can erase that from your memory because that's not part of this crime. Which takes me to TMZ that had this reporting that was like, wait, huh?
Yeah, we're not going to
TMZ said they got a federal source that told them that the images that we saw of this terrifying criminal on Nancy Guthrie's doorbell cam were actually registered at 2:12 a.m. So now I'm like, okay, let me think this one through.
Oh, that can't be possible. because according to the timeline, the 212 shows someone on camera, but they say at 147 it shows the doorbell camera disconnected. So how can the doorbell camera disconnect at 147 and this image of this person be there at 212 as the detected person on camera? That does not make sense. All right.
So what happened at 147? What doorbell cam was disconnected and tampered with at 1:47 a.m.?
Yeah, that's a good point.
If that video is at 212.
They're saying the video that we're seeing is 212.
Cameras, plural, were smashed. I can assume maybe the back door had a camera as well. And there is this timeline that the sheriff has given us about, activity on these Nest cams. And again, my reporting Tuesday of last week was Nest cams. And now, yes, it is Nest cams. Sheriff wouldn't confirm or deny that they were smashed. Where are you getting that? I'm not confirming that. That's what he said in his press conference. But there's information that came out from Michael Ruiz today that actually does back up that they were smashed. I'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about this 2:12 a.m. So I'm trying to think it through. My source said that the back door was wide open. So did this perpetrator...
The back door was wide open. Now she's walking that bad. She said the back door was broken open or smashed open or something to that effect. And now she's saying it's just wide open.
Disable.
And she said it was forced entry, if I remember correctly. Now she's just saying it's wide open.
A camera in the back.
Let's just go back just a little bit.
My source said that the back door was wide open. So did this perpetrator disable a camera in the back?
He didn't have his backpack on. He may have
and this is him coming back around.
That could be possible. Because you got to remember, at one point we did see an image of somebody without a backpack. And the professionals said that they believe that he took the backpack off to get some of the tools out to start working on getting in the house. And that's why. And he may have been coming around at that moment to remove that camera off the front.
At 2:12 a.m. on these images with his backpack and his gun. Or, and this is where it's a little bit fuzzy because the FBI gave us a batch of images, still shots and video. And one of these things ain't like the other. I talked about it on my podcast last night. One of these things ain't like the other. One of the photos has him without his backpack and without his gun. At the front. Walking up to the archway. Walking up to Nancy's front door. Which one came first?
That's a good question.
With the backpack and the gun? Messing with the camera? Or without the backpack and no gun? There's still more video that we need to see. And I think we will eventually be seeing it. I have another theory as well that I saw a commenter on Twitter and I thought, this girl knows what she's talking about. If you look at that video of the perpetrator walking back to the shrubbery and grabbing some of that shrubbery, he grabs it with his fist and it does seem like he kind of tests it to see how strong it is. And he walks back up to the camera, again, fisted. If you're trying to dangle it, you're not using your fist, you're using your hands, but he's fisted. And I actually think what he's doing, I got the idea from the commenter and I believe her, I agree with her, is that he's trying to use that shrubbery as something he can pull the camera off. He's putting it in behind the little tiny slat that's in between the bracket and the camera. Ooh. And he's trying to use it to pull it off. And that's why there's all this like ham-fisted activity as opposed to trying to cover up with shrubs the camera. I think that he might have been trying to pull it off that way.
So he wasn't trying to get any type of transfer there. So are they telling us that he didn't have any burglary tools with him? That they didn't have? Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what we got going on here. We got some type of activity. Pool people. So the pool people are there to clean the pool.
Pool people.
So they're letting the pool people come out and clean the pool. He must have changed cameras.
I don't know, folks. That's interesting.
Because it seems like it's oblong. Like, he has a camera that puts footage on here very weird. It's like oblong, like it's stretched. And I don't know what he's using, and it stretches his footage, and it sucks. You mean it looks to me like he's trying to unscrew it through? Yeah, like he's trying to use the shrubbery to take it off. That's what we're understanding it to be.
They have poles. Pool cleaners with poles.
Pool cleaners are at the house.
Going with the sheriff and the...
Okay, so they're being escorted to the back. Let's get back to this. So that's an interesting find. So they're using the shrubbery to try to manhandle the camera off of the dock.
But they're hard to pull off and they're hard to get off. And there's very little space in between them, which leads me to my next point. Michael Ruiz reported today in one of his tweets that among the evidence at the front door, small glass fragments. Michael Ruiz from Fox Digital said, among the evidence at the front door, under the doorbell cam, small glass fragments.
Ooh. And look at that.
What happens when you...
Look at that. And law enforcement, look, left, see all those, this is what the assailant was touching. And their forensic people left it all behind. All behind. Even the glass fragments. Look at that. That is shoddy police investigative work. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to call it. I don't know what else to call it. This was shoddy investigative work. All of this, had it been in Florida, all of it would have been collected. All of it. Because what if one of those leaves had his DNA on it? Only one leaf. Only one leaf out of all of the foliage in the whole entire house and outside, just this one leaf has his touch DNA on it. And it's sitting right there. And it's just been contaminated by Mike, by Brian Inton, and by every other news organization that walked up there and took photos of this very specific spot. That's sad. It's bad. It's bad, folks.
Michael Ruiz from Fox Digital said, among the evidence at the front door, under the doorbell cam, small glass fragments. What happens when you smash a doorbell cam? Small glass fragments, maybe? I found that very interesting. Maybe he was able to get it off. I don't know. Or maybe he had to smash it off. But it's gone, and he took it. So the glass fragments are left behind. Super fascinating.
You notice what the
couple of other
interesting
things that
thing
happened.
is?
Savannah.
Think about it. That tells us something very important. Does it not? To me, it tells us something very, very important. Anything he touched, he took with him. What if he didn't worry about that camera until after he already broke into the house and bludgeoned the victim? And then he's like, oh shit, I've got to go out and get the camera. I touched the camera. What if all of this stuff, like with him out without his backpack on and without his gun on, what if he had already been in the house? What if he had already killed or assaulted Miss Guthrie? And what if this was him cleaning up? He was there for 45 minutes, over 41 minutes. That's enough. I think he tried to clean the scene. I think everything that he possibly touched, he took with him. I think he accidentally lost his glove in a struggle, much like Brian Koberger lost his knife sheath. I don't think that was intentional. I don't think that was planned. I think that that's going to hold a lot of information.
Anna posted again on her Instagram. Just can't imagine what she and her siblings are going through. Just imagine if this is your mom.
I know. It's going to be hard.
Just imagine if this is your mom. You don't know what happened to her. You don't know how she is, where she is. You don't know if she's alive or dead. You don't know if she's suffering. You don't know if she's afraid. Savannah posted a really lovely family videos from when she was small with her sister.
It was sad. It made me cry.
And the caption read, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." There's been nothing mentioned about Ransom. Nothing mentioned about the family reaching out to people regarding Ransom. It seems like they've put that to bed, but TMZ did have a third note today. I mean, it's insane, right? It's becoming a circus at this point. So TMZ turned it over to law enforcement, and they got this third note, and it's from the same person who sent the note yesterday saying, "I have information, I know where Nancy is, and I want 1 Bitcoin to cough up the info," right? 1 Bitcoin's around $66,000, $67,000, depending on the day. And so this third note has come in. So the TMZ gets the first one, the first ransom note with the Bitcoin wallet demanding 4 and then 6 million. Then they get the second one with this guy saying, I have information for sale, right? Then they get this third one, same person. And this, they're not saying everything. They're not giving out all the information in it, but they did say it's ominous, the language that was used. They said it's the final outreach, that they're angry, they're not being taken seriously. And then later, it's interesting that TMZ said in a TV interview that the language they use is ominous regarding how this is all going to potentially end. But I think this guy's full of shit. I think it's just another bullshit parasite trying to capitalize off a tragic situation.
I agree.
My opinion only. I don't have inside information there, but come on.
I agree.
If you're really looking for,
I can see why TMZ
looking
is trying to
to
report
score
more news since
bucks,
Hollywood
you go
is
to the
dead.
family for ransom.
That's true.
And you don't send notes to TMZ, selling information. It's $50,000. Well, it's $100,000 now if you tell the FBI. You can make
Right.
another $30,000 more than
There
the
you go.
Bitcoin. All right. Something else that the law enforcement was doing today. The FBI was going around and asking all of the neighbors within a 2-mile radius of Nancy and her driveway to look at their ring cams. Now, this is where it's hinky. Early in the day, the reporting came out that they were just asking for January 11th, 9 till midnight. What? January 11th, 9 to midnight?
All right. So this is going to our next topic of conversation. That has been reported, and they are absolutely right now searching for any type of information going all the way back to January 1st. But what I did find out, maybe I can put this up here, maybe I cannot. Let's just see what we can do here. Let me go image. Let's do Jan. So we'll do hashtag Jan. Okay, we're doing hashtag Jan. Give me a second. Where is it? Is it this one? I think it is this one. There it is. So here it is, right here. We have evidence timeline, gray pickup truck, surveillance, and abduction. So according to January 11th, night surveillance, a gray pickup truck was captured on a Ring camera. Surveillance, I think it says captured. They got a misspelling here. Captured, or in an upscale, it's upscale Tucson home in Catalina Foothills at night. The truck parked down the street in driver observing house. On January 31st, daytime, near the abduction, a grandmother led from her home by stranger, abducted, thwarted by neighbor, no truck visible, stranger in dark clothing. I have no idea what that refers to, but that is what we're hearing. Now, with that being said, let me remove that and we'll get moving on.
What the hell happened then? And then it changed. Like just a couple hours later, the ask changed. And the FBI then asked those neighbors within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's home could they please look at their Ring doorbell cams, their doorbell cams or whatever they've got, their security cameras, starting January 1st, all the way through to February 2nd.
Yep. That's important.
Okay, I mean...
So that means that they think...
a lot. Also...
That, to me, that means a couple things, okay? To me, that means that they're either looking for someone that has been... Oh, he's talking about the pool that's being cleaned. Talking to somebody... This is related to somebody either stalking them or somebody being in the community enough during certain times that they're watching the house when they go by. But allegedly, this gray pickup truck probably has been seen in multiple times when they weren't supposed to be. During the day, probably scoping out their target, and at night as they're converging on their target. How many times has this guy snuck into people's houses without them knowing about it and stole stuff while people slept? That seems to be his MO, in my opinion.
You know, police look at things with a different eye than we do. They, mere mortals. I'm not sure what they've instructed them or how they've counseled them to look at the video. Like, what am I looking for? Am I looking for a particular car or a person, and what do I do when I find it? And do I time code it? I mean, that's a lot of video to look at. I don't even know if anybody has that kind of bandwidth in their lives to be able to look at 30 days of video on their Ring cams. But that's what they're asking for. And maybe they gave them specific counsel, but we haven't been told anything. But here's the request, the statement that...
I truly believe law enforcement has had digital programs to help them identify stuff for a very, very long time. AI is not new. AI is new to the public. Okay? AI was used, you guys know, AI has been used long time before it was finally released to the public. They've been using it in all types of different applications before we ever even knew it existed. Trust me on that.
That the Pima County Sheriff put out. Investigators are requesting all video footage that includes vehicles, vehicle traffic, people, pedestrians, and anything neighbors deemed out of the ordinary or important to our investigation from Jan 1, 2026 to Feb 2, 2026. That last part is anything neighbors deemed out of the ordinary or important to our investigation. That's the tricky part. But I mean, you got to watch this stuff in real time. And you guys are good at this. You guys are so good at this. True crime sleuthers are really good at this. You guys see everything. But the average guy out there doesn't maybe see everything in the frame. And so I don't know if they're going to, assign more manpower to put eyeballs on all these people's videos. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're asking for it. 2 o'clock in the morning, last night, agents are back out at Nancy's house. 2 a.m. February 12th. So, wow, 2 a.m. They really are working around the clock, right? But what are they doing at 2 a.m. that they wouldn't be doing during the day when they got better lighting? Or maybe they just want a lot of reporters to see them? I'm not sure. 2 a.m. they're back. Revisiting the neighbors again. And I should let you know, I didn't realize this at the time, there's only one way in and one way out of Nancy's neighborhood.
I don't agree with that. I've already found two separate ways in and out. It's just further away. It's further away. Let's go. It looks like Jonathan's out there doing something. Let's find out what the hell he's doing. I wish I could put this.
Sheriff took him out back, so this is something. This has something. Nancy. Drone. Every day there's something happening.
Thought I just saw him. So we have 2 pool people.
There he goes. We got something. Alright, the drones is up, so. drones. Got like 4 drones on this side. Drones everywhere.
Drones everywhere. I got a drone too.
What they're doing back there.
There it is.
Definitely back there.
Cleaning the
fishing
pool.
through things with their poles. There's 2 people back there.
They're not fishing through. They're cleaning the pool. Looks like it's a normal maintenance. They look like they're. I mean, people can see through the pool.
Pool cleaning.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Come on. It's a pool cleaner. Okay.
They're pool cleaning back there.
All right. It's not like they're searching for evidence. They're cleaning the freaking pool. Okay. Now that we got that. Now that we understand. All right. Let's get back to Ashley.
And it's so frustrating because in so many other communities we have street cams that would capture that. I don't know that they have that in this particular area. But one way in, one way out. I mean, it's so frustrating. It should be so much easier.
And we'll challenge that. Okay, so we got the release of the masked man. We didn't know who had been in the house. We thought it was family. We realize now that it wasn't family members. It was a masked man. Some people still believe it's still affiliated or associated with the family. I think as more evidence comes out, as more investigators and experts chime in, I think we're all going to learn that this was probably somebody in and around this community that did this, that was familiar with creeping, that did this before, that has a habit or a tendency of breaking into homes in the middle of the night. You know, I don't, surprise nobody at the scene has jumped in yet. Oh. So that's kind of where we are in the Nancy Guthrie case. And then, of course, we have a renowned sketch artist that has worked with law enforcement in the past, and they took that masked individual and used it and identified different structure points and prepared what they believe will most likely look like the subject behind the mask. And this is the artist rendering of what this particular artist believes will be under that ski mask. Now, there is a caveat to this, and that caveat is the fact that this lady here has worked with law enforcement in the past. She's retired, and she has helped solve 750 cases with this type of work right here. So is it exact what he will look like? I don't know, but I can say that she's got 750 other cases she did this on, and she hit those out of the park. So if I had to trust anybody on what this man would resemble, this would be it. Okay? Is there some for interpretation? Of course there is. Nobody knows what's behind that mask, but maybe a trained eye, an artist, somebody that does this for a living might be able to help. So they threw this out there, and they even said, you know, I'm strong enough to take this on the chin if I'm wrong. So here we go, folks. This is what at least this forensic artist believes that this assailant may look like. And she's got a good track record. Dreaming Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches says, thank you so much for that. But here you go, folks. It's possible. Does this face look familiar to you? If it does, don't wait. Call law enforcement immediately. This might be the assailant or what the assailant may look like, folks. And then we have this. I really think that this guy and this guy look very, very similar, and it's crazy. It is crazy. And this is a Ring doorbell camera off of neighborhoods that captures somebody, and this was on January 23rd at 5:07, and I can't tell if that, it looks like morning time, 5 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Time. And this is a person that looks like he's hiding from somebody. He's got light colored or dark colored, depending on what. He's got some things in his hand to take, but he looks like he's running from somebody and somebody's looking for him and he's trying to hide out from somebody. So he sees that the camera's on and he's trying to block the light or whatever. He's got a tattoo on his neck. You know, we know that the other person looks like he might have a tattoo on his arm near his wrist. And according to at least one sketch artist, a forensic sketch artist, they believe that the person may look or resemble this person right here. And then we have information that's saying that the county sheriff is withholding critical evidence from the FBI. And then we find out about this huge pissing contest that the FBI and the county sheriff have been having for years, folks, years. And it sounds like maybe Nancy Guthrie's case is going to be the pivotal moment in this case where the sheriff is just not cooperating with the case anymore and hindering his own investigation from individuals that lived in his community for a really long time. I don't like how this is working out. I don't like hearing the news that we're learning about this case, but I digress. This is what it is. So what we're going to do now is I'm done with this show. Okay, we've been on for about 3 hours. I think everybody needs a little break. I'm going to do some more research. What we've learned today is we are looking up. Something's going on here. Let's tune in. Maybe we won't be changing. Something's going on here.
Everyone's like following the flower lady.
Oh, the flower lady. Oh, somebody's coming there to... This is what it was like over at Gabby Petito. Every time somebody came up to drop something off at the memorial, the camera crew would come and follow and then interview the person doing this. Aw, little old lady. Look at all those yellow. I wonder if yellow is just sorrowful or if yellow is just her favorite color. If somebody knows something a little more, that's a lot of yellow. My heart breaks for this family. It really does. It really does. So guys, this is what I think is going to be going on now. I really truly believe that this case is going into a new direction. If I had to give you guys my full idea of where we are at and what's going to happen from this point forward, I think the case is about to slow way down. Unfortunately, I don't think that this case is speeding up, okay? I think it's slowing down. And it's very, very, very unfortunate that we are in the situation that we are in this case. I believe that there were critical mistakes that were made up front. I believe that we've been trying to fix those mistakes since the beginning. I'm praying to God that we've gotten around the curve and now we can start making some heads or tails of what truly happened here in Nancy's home. And I pray for her family. I pray for her family, gets some peace and gets some justice for their mother. I'm not convinced Nancy is alive anymore. I'm not convinced that Nancy was alive when she left the home. I am just convinced of something. I just see something totally different than a lot of my audience sees. I see somebody that broke into a home. It seems to me that maybe he's never killed anybody before. It seems to me that something went terribly wrong while he was inside this home and he didn't know how to act. And I think he ultimately took the victim out of the house to hide the crime. I think it was a burglary that went terribly wrong and somebody lost their life. And I don't think that this gentleman this assailant knew how to handle that situation. But again, there's an alternative theory to this, that this was a hired man, that this was somehow done by the family or done by somebody close to the family or close to her for robbery, for selfish and motivating reasons such as money or inheritance or something like that. Those have never been disputed and they haven't been put to bed. So literally all these theories are on the table. And it feels like to me that we're back at square one in this case. And it's so, so, so unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. But where do we go from here? My answer I don't know. I truly don't know. But guys, we are going to do our best to try to make heads or tails of this. We're going to do our best to try to keep this case moving forward in the right direction. We're going to do our best to try to keep this case as well as other cases in the forefront. I know that it's still a crazy scene out in front of Nancy Guthrie's house, but I truly do believe that this is going to change over the next week. I think we're going to slow down, and I think with the lack of information on this case, and without everybody's stuck at this house. They're not really doing any investigative work. Jonathan's getting out there, but he's just going on the second phase. There's not a whole lot going on out in front of this house. So next thing you do is you balance the investigative portion of explaining what has happened up to this point, as well as monitoring any movements that are going on in the house. It's just another phase of investigative work for the journalists out there. And some of the journalists are doing it well, and some of the journalists are not doing it so well. So we have a lot of people that come out there just for 5 o'clock shows that aren't really doing anything but giving the latest and greatest. Some people are out there with streams going all day, every day, much like Jonathan. You see these people with these big old cameras. Those are the photographs for the publications that you're seeing across the internet. Okay, all these Getty's images, these are the people. These are the people. Whenever you see these people out here, you got a guy that's probably from the New York Times, which that guy, I think he might be from the New York Times. You got other people from different sectors of journalism. Oh, you guys can't see it because I don't have it up. But either way, you've got a lot of people out there right now, and now it needs to go over to the secondary phase of this in this case for the journalists, and that's explaining what happened up to this point. Where was that gray truck seen? Where, was this car or vehicle seen fleeing the area? Or is it one of the neighbors further in the back of this community that's been taunting and preying upon their neighbor and neighborhood? I believe this person's a lot closer than we think. I believe that this is just a standard garbage person. And you know what? People have been saying it's possible this person is illegal. We can't go there yet because we don't know who this person is. And this is Arizona, by the way. And Arizona does have a high per capita of Latino and Hispanic people that live there. So I think that that's totally unfair at this juncture of the case, because let's face it, Americans can be just as creepy, right? We have a lot of people in our jails that are Americans that are doing exactly what we observed this Yahoo right here do. Okay, he might be of Hispanic descent, but there's nothing that I can see so far that identifies him as being an illegal immigrant. Right now, it's just somebody in a freaking ski mask that most likely hurt an elderly lady. And at the end of the day, we need to find that person. But could that person have already fled to Mexico? With Mexico being 60 miles away, the uncomfortable truth is yes. This person could have been a Mexican national, could have came here. This person could have been a Mexican national that came over to Arizona every other, twice a week for the last year, preying on the citizens here and going back to his home at night. With it being only 60 miles away, you're talking about an hour drive. Could this vehicle been picked up on cameras? Yeah. If you're looking at a situation like that, yeah. There's no way he could conduct himself without moving around in a vehicle. But we're hearing they're having a hard time locating a vehicle on camera. And we know going into this community at both intersections, there are cameras. So the only thing that I can deduct from this is the person never left the community. And this is a huge area of houses. So is it possible that this person lives 2 miles away from this house in this same community and never had to get on a main road? And the answer is, it is possible, folks. It is possible. This could very well be one of her neighbors in that community in the Catalina Foothills area. It would explain why they can't find a vehicle. It would explain why they only have one small possibility of trying to identify this gray pickup truck. If she was in a gray pickup truck, the chances of her being alive when she left that home are slim because they probably threw her in the back of the truck and took her somewhere and dumped her. This case is just, it's grown legs. I don't know what we're looking at here. I really don't. I'm so confused. And if I'm this confused, I know all of you guys are too. So anyways, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Thank you for spending over 3 hours with me as we go through this entire case. I know this case is breaking. I know this case is kind of pulling us all in, but what are we looking at? I don't know what we're looking at. I wish I did, but I don't. If you guys have a clue, I love hearing perspectives. We've got mail episode on here again very, very soon. So if you guys have a perspective you'd like me to hear or work, please send it to me. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Hello, Arcaholic. It's nice to see you. Oh, Zelda, it's nice to see you as well. I read somewhere that the cameras are live and don't record. And they are live but don't record. She didn't have a subscription, but they were able to get some residual data from the back end of their servers. And that's why we got what we have up here. So, yeah, you're right. She did not have service, but it's still, you know, those cameras still had to go through their service to get on her phone app. So I think that there was some way that the system captured that. It just isn't indexed like the subscribed footage is indexed. And I think they were very lucky that they were able to capture these, but this is scary. And it makes us wonder what this poor little lady went through. This frail little lady, she must have been terrified. She must have been scared. And I hope she wasn't hurt too bad, but we know she was hurt. And we know she was hurt because there's blood. And you don't get blood without getting hurt. Okay? So was she hurt? Yeah. How bad? We don't know. Law enforcement have not walked back that they have not spoke about her not being with us anymore. They're still speaking as if they believe she will be coming home and that she still is safe. We do want to provide hope for that. But at the end of the day, we know the statistics. And the statistics, hon, are not good. Okay? Thank you, Valerie. Bless you. They're not good. But we're going to keep praying for this family because that's what the family wants. We're going to keep believing in hope because that's what our channel needs. We cover a lot of cases, including the Sebastian Rogers case, which again, the Sebastian Rogers case is a case that we are going to be out a little bit later this month. Did I not have? Okay, hold on. Sorry. I thought I had their image back up, but I guess I did not. Here we go. There he is right there. There is Sebastian Rogers. He's got a very similar story, was with family, but I mean, not similar, a little different. He was with his mother. He disappeared in the middle of the night. Everybody believes the mom's kind of crazy, believes she hurt him. And the stepfather, which was away for work, came home, and I believe he's been covering his wife's butt ever since. I believe everybody knows that his wife hurt her son. And the sheriff there has too much loyalty because this family here, the Proudfoot family, are a part of the developer system. Like the developers in my county own our politicians, and it seems like that's the same way here. So I feel like second generation is really preventing this case from closing because it's going to put both of these parents in jail. I truly believe that with all my heart, that Chris and Katie Proudfoot are going to be in prison. And I'm not going to change that. I believe Chris Proudfoot is an evil monster that has done terrible things. I think he covered his wife's butt. I believe he's the one that disposed of Sebastian Rogers. I don't think Katie did. I think Katie hurt him to death. And I think she called her husband, and her husband was her knight in shining armor that came and fixed her problem. So, are we dealing with a situation like this? With the Nancy Guthrie case, I don't think we are. I really don't. I really don't. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless each and every one of you. And we will be back later this afternoon or as more information breaks. I am keeping my eyes and ears on this case, so any breaking information, but we are going to have to start incorporating Sebastian Rogers in our conversations moving forward. In another 10 days, we will be out in Tennessee, Sumner County, Tennessee, running the Sebastian Rogers event, as well as keeping you guys updated on the Nancy Guthrie coverage. So we have our hands full this month. We're very, very busy. And if this case is expanded into March, we will be out in Arizona in the March timeframe to start doing this case from the ground, boots on the ground efforts. It's been a crazy media circus out there. It was not something that we could do because we had too many events going on so far of all times. You know, we had already had an event planned for months. We've had this event planned. So it's coming down to brass tacks where we need to be there. We got 10 days to get everything fixed up and ready for the Sebastian Rogers event. I hope that you guys come out and support us with this event. This is about a 15-year-old, now 17-year-old boy that disappeared from his home. He may have been hurt by his mom. His mom may have killed him. Okay? That's the point. His mother may have murdered her son. And we need all the people out there as possible because we need this community to know we have not forgotten this young boy, even though they have. We have not forgotten justice for this boy, even though the sheriff has. We are going to fight and we are going to unseat this sheriff and put somebody in here that has balls and a backbone, that doesn't really care who this family is, and is going to get justice for Sebastian Rogers. And right now, Sheriff Snuggle Struggles is not the guy. Okay? He's not the guy. So we're going to be out there explaining why he needs to come to the table and give us a blessed update on this case. We're entitled to it. We're required. He should be required to give it. He hasn't opened his mouth since February 2nd, 2024. No updates, no arrests, no Sebastian. In 2 solid years, enough is enough, and we're ready to raise our voice and bring awareness to Sebastian Rogers' case, demand the sheriff give us a real public, and moreover, we want a picture of Sebastian behind him when he speaks. When he speaks about Sebastian, we want people that is around this country and around this world to see Sebastian's face behind him. We have a lot of demands for this sheriff, and we're going to be heard about this matter on the 23rd through the 27th. Unfortunately, the 23rd, we're not going to be able to set up shop. Our first day is going to be the 24th. It just is what it is with our sleeping arrangements and when we can get checked in. So the 23rd, I was planning on being there all day from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., but I don't even get into the room until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that our first day is a wash. We're not going to be out there on the 23rd. We'll be out there on the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. After the 27th and the 28th, I will be in Kentucky. I am going there to unseat or help unseat, make connections so I can start working with the people to get Tom Massey out of his seat. I don't like Tom Massey. He is affecting stuff here in Florida and he's got to go. So I'm going into Kentucky and setting up small groups to get his ass gone. And so that's where I will be and what I will be doing. We should be wrapped up by March 5th. I should be back here by March 6th or 7th. And then we'll be heading off to Arizona if this case is still going on. So that's the plans, folks. Please stay right here with the Bullhorn Betty channel. We are going to do the best we can with what we've got for the victims we have. And right now, we've got 2 major victims, 2 major cases, Sebastian Rogers, as well as Nancy Guthrie's. And it's time to start commingling. We have magnets for our vans. Aw, bless you. And it's now time to start commingling these cases together so we bring them both up together. All right, guys, we will see you guys soon. See you this afternoon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel.